$6? Wait until real heroes finish, Marcy Bell said through the VA glass, loud enough for every chair in the Oakville Valley Clinic to hear. She laughed at my copay. She stamped my account delinquent. She waved away the card with Daniel Mercer's name on it. Then she told me my appointment access could be suspended by Friday. I folded the receipt once, clean edge to clean edge. I had spent 31 years sorting mail by zip code and consequence. I knew what paper could do when people got careless with it. Before that day was over, a retired major general would hold that same $6 slip in the hallway and ask Marcy one question she could not answer. He got as far as Daniel's name before his face changed. But before the hallway went silent, there was the payment window. $6? Wait until real heroes finish, Marcy Bell said again, because women like Marcy liked an echo. I stood at the VA payment window at Ocoee Valley Outpatient Clinic off Veterans Drive in Cedar Bluff, Tennessee, with my pocketbook under one arm and Daniel's folded flag on the chair behind me. I had not planned to bring the flag inside. It usually rode in the passenger seat of my old Buick, buckled in with the gray belt pulled across the glass case. That morning, the lock on the passenger door stuck in the grocery lot on Benton Pike. I did not like leaving Daniel where strangers could see him. So I carried him in. The clinic waiting room had 23 chairs, 2 vending machines, and a television turned low to a morning show nobody watched. The floor smelled like mop water and hand sanitizer. A man in a Vietnam cap sat near the fish tank. A young woman in scrubs typed with 2 fingers at the check-in desk. 3 men in work boots waited by radiology. Nobody had bothered anybody until Marcy raised her voice. I kept my right hand on the counter ledge. "I can wait," I said. Marcy smiled like she had won something. "That's good, Mrs. Mercer. Waiting seems to be your strong suit." A few heads turned. Not all. Enough. I looked at the little metal tray under the glass. My $6 copay slip sat there with the corner curled up. The printer had left a pale line through the date. July 8th, 2026. Dermatology follow-up. Paid in cash. I had paid $6 because the statement said $6, not 5, not 7, 6. I set it down straight. That was what I told myself when my hands wanted to hurry. I set it down straight. Paperwork, grief, pride, all of it. Marcy tapped her acrylic nail on the glass. Red polish, gold fleck. "You'll need to step aside." "I have a pharmacy question, too," I said. "Of course you do." That got a small laugh from the man behind me. Not mean, exactly. Tired. People laugh when they want the room to move on. I took the folded statement from my purse. The CPT line on this one doesn't match the VA statement. Marcy blinked. "The what?" "The pharmacy line says topical generic. $42 posted as brand name special order." I slid the paper into the tray. "That isn't right." She did not take it. The young woman in scrubs glanced over from check-in. Marcy leaned closer to the round speaker in the glass. "Mrs. Mercer, you don't work here." "No, ma'am. And Google doesn't make you a billing specialist. I don't use Google for billing." That was true. I used dates, codes, amounts, human mistakes. 31 years at the Cedar Bluff post office taught me that a wrong number could send a pension check to a dead mailbox for 6 weeks. People called that clerical. I called it a wound with a paper cut. Marcy finally pulled my statement through. She looked at it for 3 seconds. "That's not today," she said. "It posted today. We're talking about today's copay." "We can talk about both." Her jaw moved once. "No, we can't." Behind me, someone sighed. I did not turn around. A widow learns not to look for rescue in a waiting room. Most people are already holding their own trouble. Marcy pushed the statement back. "Take a seat. Real patients have appointments. Real." There it was. A small word can carry a big load when the wrong person lifts it. I picked up the statement, folded it along the old crease, and placed it behind the $6 slip in my pocketbook. Then I took out Daniel's VA card. It was worn soft at the edges. His name had faded just a little. Daniel Mercer, United States Army. Under the name, there was an old service designation and a small blue star stamped beside the file line. Most clerks never looked past the birth date. Marcy did not look at all. She waved her hand before I even laid it flat. I don't need that. You asked for account verification. I know who you are. No, she didn't. That was the trouble. She knew I was 64. She knew I wore the same navy cardigan most clinic days. She knew I counted change before I left the house. She knew my Buick had a dent over the right back tire. She knew Daniel was gone because widow was printed in too many places. She did not know Daniel. She did not know what the blue star meant. Truth sits plain sometimes. People step over it anyway. I placed the card in the tray. Please run it. Marcy stared at me. You people always think there's a secret button? You people? Survivors, dependents, whatever term they use now. The young woman at check-in stopped typing. The Vietnam cat man lifted his eyes. Marcy noticed, but she did not slow down. People who get comfortable behind glass forget sound can travel both ways. You come in here with $6 and a sad story, she said. Then you expect the whole system to bend. I did not have a sad story ready. I had a receipt. My appointment is at 10:20, I said. It was at 10:20. She clicked her mouse. You're late on 2 account items. I paid both. Not according to the ledger. Then the ledger is wrong. She laughed again. Softer this time. Meaner, too. The ledger isn't wrong because Linda Mercer says so. I had heard louder people with less authority. They did not impress me much. Marcy picked up a rubber stamp from beside her keyboard. The handle was green. The ink pad was red. I saw the motion before I understood what she meant to do. Mrs. Mercer, the young woman at check-in said, I can ask pharmacy to look at that code. Marcy did not look away from me. You can keep checking in patients, Jenna. Jenna's cheeks went pink. Marcy pressed the stamp to my account printout. Delinquent. All capital letters. She turned the page toward the glass so I could see it. There, she said. Now it's accurate. The room got quiet. Not silent. Quiet. There is a difference. Quiet still has chairs creaking and phones buzzing. Silent has judgment in it. We were not there yet. I looked at the red stamp. My $6 is paid, I said. Your account is flagged. By whom? By this office. With your initials? Her eyes narrowed. I had not meant it as a threat. I had only read the lower corner. Monsieur Bell. Timestamp 10:07, Terminal 3. Marcy pulled the page back fast. Do you want your appointment suspended? She asked. No. Then sit down. That was the first time I felt angry. Not hot, not loud, just there. I thought of Daniel telling me years ago that anger was like a loaded shelf. You did not have to throw it. Sometimes you only had to know what was on it. I took the $6 slip from the tray. I folded it once more. Then I opened my pocketbook and placed it inside the small side pocket, behind Daniel's card sleeve. I set it down straight, I whispered. Marcy heard me. What was that? Nothing. Good. Keep it that way. I turned from the window. Every chair seemed closer than before. The man in the Vietnam cap looked down at his hands. The young woman in scrubs watched me with her mouth pressed thin. The 3 work boot men pretended the television had become interesting. I picked up Daniel's flag case from the chair. It was heavier than people thought. Oak frame, triangular glass, brass plate with his full name, Daniel Mercer. I held it against my ribs and walked toward the far wall. A little boy sat with his grandfather near the water fountain. He stared at the flag. Was he a soldier? The boy asked. His grandfather hushed him. I stopped. Yes. What did he do? That was a large question for a child with a grape juice mustache. He kept his word, I said. The grandfather looked at me then. He had the old posture. Shoulders tired, eyes awake. Good answer, he said. I nodded and sat 2 chairs away. My appointment slip said 10:20. The wall clock said 10:16. I had 4 minutes to be a person before the system decided what I was. I opened my pocketbook again. Everything inside had a place. Driver's license in front, insurance card behind it, Daniel's VA card in the blue sleeve, cash in a bank envelope from Volunteer Trust, receipts clipped by month. July had 9 receipts already. Gas, bread, pharmacy, clinic, and 1 birthday card for my niece I had not mailed yet. I took out the pharmacy statement. Jenna came around the desk with a clipboard. She walked softly, like she had been taught not to disturb a house where someone was sleeping. Mrs. Mercer, she said, can I see that pharmacy line? Marcy's chair scraped behind the glass. I handed Jenna the paper. She read it once, then again. You're right, she said quietly. This should not be $42. I thought so. How did you catch it? Same way you catch a bad address, I said. You look at the line nobody wants to read. Jenna almost smiled. Then Marcy called from the window. Jenna. Jenna flinched. A person can tell a whole story with 1 flinch. She gave me the paper back. I'll make a note. Thank you. Marcy appeared at the side door then. Not behind glass now. She wore a clinic badge on a navy lanyard. Marcy Bell, benefits clerk. Her blouse had pearl buttons. Her shoes clicked like she wanted credit for walking. Mrs. Mercer, she said, you need to understand something. The waiting room listened without admitting it. This clinic has procedures, she said. We can't keep making exceptions. I didn't ask for one. You asked me to rerun a card, dispute a pharmacy charge, and delay a line of actual veterans. The Vietnam Cap man looked up again. I held Daniel's flag case a little tighter. I asked you to correct a charge, I said. You asked for attention, dry words, casual, like she was telling me rain was coming. I had sorted sympathy letters after bad deployments. I had watched mothers stand at my counter and ask why a government envelope had not arrived. I knew the weight of attention. Marcy was not talking about attention. She was talking about control. I'll wait for my appointment, I said. She took 1 step closer. You may not have one. My provider scheduled it. Benefits can suspend access pending unpaid items. I paid. Not all of it. Show me what I owe. I don't have to do that in the hallway. We're not in the hallway. Her mouth tightened. The boy by the fountain whispered, Grandpa. His grandfather put 1 hand on his shoulder. Marcy lowered her voice then, but not enough. There is a private resolution office for accounts like yours. Accounts like yours. She pulled a small business card from her badge holder and held it out. Bell County Patient Resolution Services. That name meant nothing to me yet. The phone number had a Chattanooga area code. The card was too glossy for a federal clinic. They can clear flags faster, she said. Is that VA? It's approved. That isn't what I asked. Marcy's smile came back. Do you want help or not? I took the card because refusing paper is how paper disappears. I read the bottom line. Administrative resolution fee may apply. How much? Depends on the account. For $6? Her eyes flicked to the flag case. For access. There it was again. The real price. Not $6. Access. I placed the business card in my July receipt clip. Marcy watched me do it. You file everything, don't you? She asked. Yes. Must get lonely. That one landed. I will not dress it up. It hit the place where Daniel's coffee mug still sat in my cabinet. It hit the passenger seat where his flag rode because my house felt too quiet without a reason to protect something. It hit the nights when the VA phone tree asked me to press 3 for survivor benefits, and I stood there with the receiver in my hand. I did not show her. Lonely still alphabetizes, I said. The Vietnam Cap man coughed into his fist. It might have been a laugh. It might have been mercy. Marcy leaned close enough that I smelled spearmint gum. Your account will stay flagged until you resolve it. My appointment? Suspended after Friday if the delinquency remains. Today is Wednesday. Then you have 2 days. She turned and walked back through the side door. The room breathed again. Jenna stood by the desk, pale and still. Mrs. Mercer, I'm sorry. You didn't stamp it. No, ma'am, then don't wear it. She looked down at the clipboard. My name was called 3 minutes later, but not by my provider. A nurse I did not know stepped into the doorway and said, Linda Mercer? I rose with the flag case. She glanced at it, then at me. You can leave that here if you want. No. Okay. She led me down a short hall past exam rooms 1 through 6. The walls had framed posters about blood pressure, diabetes, and caregiver stress. At room 4, I heard Marcy's voice behind another door. She's been warned twice, Marcy said. Widow account. Small balance. Habitual. The nurse kept walking. Habitual. That word followed me into the exam room and sat down first. The appointment itself lasted 11 minutes. A physician assistant looked at the spot on my arm, froze it, and told me to come back in 6 months. He was kind. Busy. He did not know my account had been marked like a bad dog. When I stepped out, Jenna was at the hallway printer. She held a page in one hand. Her eyes found mine, then moved away. Marcy came around the corner with another woman from billing. She stopped when she saw me. Mrs. Mercer, Marcy said, too bright now. All finished? Yes. Good. Make sure you call that number. I'll review my ledger first. She tilted her head. Your ledger? My payments. That's internal. My payments aren't. The other billing woman looked from Marcy to me. She wore her badge turned backward. Marcy's smile stiffened. You can request records through proper channels. I know. Do you? That was when I noticed the paper in Jenna's hand. It was my printed account page. I could see the bottom corner from where I stood. M. Bell. Terminal 3. Red delinquent flag. Then another line below it. Outside resolution referral. Same time stamp. Marcy saw me see it. She stepped sideways, blocking Jenna. Have a good day, Mrs. Mercer. I did not move. Jenna's hand trembled once. The paper made a small sound. Then a man's voice came from the lobby. Room 214 never got cleared. Every part of me went still, not frightened. Still. I had not heard that phrase in years, not in a clinic, not in Cedar Bluff, not from any mouth that did not already know to lower its voice. Marcy frowned. What did you say? The man in the lobby spoke again, louder this time. I said room 214 never got cleared. That's why Mercer went back. I turned toward the sound. A tall man stood near the front doors with a leather folder under his arm. Gray hair, dark suit, army posture, even out of uniform. 2 clinic administrators hovered beside him like they had been assigned to keep up and were already failing. I did not know his face at first. Then he shifted his weight, and I knew the walk. Some men carry command in their shoulders. Others carry memory. This one carried both. Marcy hurried toward the lobby. Sir, can I help you? He did not answer her. His eyes had gone to the flag case in my arms, then to the worn VA card still tucked half out of my pocketbook, then to me. Ma'am, he said, and his voice changed. The administrators stopped talking. Marcy looked annoyed. General Rusk, this is a patient account issue. General Rusk. The name reached me before the man did. Major General Calvin Rusk, retired Army. I had seen it once in Daniel's old papers, typed clean on a citation cover sheet I was never supposed to need. Rusk, CA Witnessing Officer, Forward Surgical Command Liaison, 2004. I had not opened that folder in 6 years. General Rusk stepped closer. Your name? He asked. I knew he could read the plate on the flag case. He asked anyway. Linda Mercer. His face tightened at Daniel's name on the brass. Marcy gave a small laugh. Yes, Mrs. Mercer has been having some trouble with a $6 copay. Nobody laughed with her. General Rusk held out his hand. May I see the receipt? He asked. I reached into my pocketbook and touched the folded slip. Clean edge to clean edge. I did not hand it over yet. Not because I refused him, because my fingers had stopped obeying orders. The hallway had changed. Jenna stood behind the printer with the account page. The Vietnam Cap man had risen from his chair. The boy by the fountain had stopped swinging his feet. Marcy still wore that smile, but it had started to work against her. General Rusk looked at the blue star beside Daniel's name. Then he looked at Marcy Bell. Who flagged this account? He asked. Marcy opened her mouth. And for the first time that morning, nothing came out. Marcy opened her mouth again. Still nothing. One of the administrators stepped forward. He was a narrow man with silver glasses and a tablet pressed to his chest. General Rusk, we can handle this in conference. General Rusk did not look at him. I asked a question, he said. Who flagged it? Marcy swallowed. I saw it because I was watching her throat, not her face. Faces know how to lie better. I did, she said, per procedure. What procedure? Unresolved patient balance. For $6? For account compliance. General Rusk turned to the administrator. Is she a patient here? The administrator blinked. Yes, sir. Was she seen today? Yes, sir. Then access wasn't suspended. Not yet, Marcy said. 2 words can be a confession if they arrive wrong. General Rusk looked at her then. Fully. It was not an angry look. Angry would have given her something to push against. This was inspection. Not yet, he repeated. Marcy lifted her chin. Her account is delinquent. Show me. Sir, that record is protected. It is. He held out one hand. Show me the protected record. No one moved. The clinic phone rang behind the glass. Once, twice. Jenna reached for it, but the administrator with the tablet raised his hand. Let it go. That was when the lobby understood this was not a small argument anymore. People stopped pretending. The work boot men turned in their chairs. The woman in scrubs stood with her discharge papers still folded in her fist. The grandfather by the fountain rose slowly, keeping one hand on the boy's shoulder. Marcy looked at me. Mrs. Mercer, you don't need to stay for this. I was told my account was the problem. That doesn't mean you get to watch staff business. General Rusk said, She stays. Marcy's eyes snapped back to him. General, with respect, patient billing can't be handled in public. Then you shouldn't have stamped her in public. That landed harder than a shout. I felt it move through the room. Not loud, direct. Marcy's hand went to her lanyard. She rubbed the plastic badge with her thumb. Benefits clerk. M. Bell. The administrator cleared his throat. Jenna, print the account activity. Jenna looked at Marcy first. Marcy shook her head. General Rusk saw it. Print it, he said. Jenna went behind the glass. Her fingers moved fast. The printer coughed once, then began to pull paper through. I had worked 31 years at a post office counter. I knew the sound of paper becoming trouble. Marcy stepped closer to the administrator. Mr. Voss, this is exactly why we don't let outside advisors interfere with local billing. So that was his name. Voss. Mr. Voss did not answer her. His eyes were on General Rusk. Sir, this may involve a contracted resolution vendor. General Rusk's head turned a little. What vendor? Marcy spoke first. Approved patient support. Name. Bell County Patient Resolution Services. The Vietnam Cap man made a low sound. General Rusk looked at him. Do you know that office? The man hesitated. Got a card last month, he said. For a missed lab fee. Marcy said, Sir, please don't involve other patients. The man stood straighter. You involved us when you said real patients? Real. There it was again. General Rusk looked back at Marcy. Who owns that office? I don't know. Jenna came out with the printed account activity. She held it by the top corners, careful not to bend it. She handed it to Mr. Voss, but General Rusk took it before Voss could tuck it away. He read the top line. Linda Mercer, survivor account. He read the next line slower. Veteran sponsor, Daniel Mercer. My hands tightened on the flag case. He turned the page. Status field blank. Mr. Voss frowned. Blank? Marcy said. Legacy accounts sometimes don't migrate. General Rusk looked at Jenna. Was it blank this morning? Jenna's face changed. Fear came first. Then something else. A decision, maybe. No, sir, Marcy snapped. Jenna. Jenna kept her eyes on General Rusk. There was a code, she said. What code? A blue star marker. It sat beside the sponsor line. General Rusk's jaw set. When did it disappear? Jenna pointed to the paper. 10:07. The room went silent. Not quiet. Silent. General Rusk looked down at the page. Terminal 3, he said. Nobody had to ask whose terminal that was. Marcy's smile came back in pieces. That wasn't a deletion. It was a ledger refresh. Who authorized it? The system. Systems don't initial forms. He turned the page toward her. His finger tapped the lower corner. Monsieur Bell. Marcy stared at that initial as if somebody else had written it. I wanted to say something then. I wanted to tell him about the $42 pharmacy charge. I wanted to say she had given me a glossy card for a private office. I wanted to explain that I had paid my $6. But discipline is not silence because you have nothing. It is silence because timing matters. So I held the flag case and waited. General Rusk looked at me. Mrs. Mercer, do you have the receipt? I reached into my pocketbook. My fingers found the folded slip. Then they found the business card Marcy had given me. I pulled out both. Marcy's face changed when she saw the card. That's optional support material, she said. General Rusk held out his hand. I gave him the card first. He read it. Administrative resolution fee may apply. Mr. Voss closed his eyes for 1 second. General Rusk turned the card over. Nothing on the back. Who gave you this? Marcy Bell. Why? She said it could clear flags faster. For access? That was the word. Marcy lifted both hands. She misunderstood. She's upset. I almost laughed. I did not. General Rusk looked at the receipt still in my hand. And the copay? I gave it to him. The paper looked smaller in his hand. $6 can be made to feel large by the right person. It can also become exactly what it is. He read the receipt. Paid. Ocoee Valley, 5. A outpatient clinic, Cedar Bluff, 10:03. He looked at Marcy. You stamped her delinquent at 10:07, pending other balances. Show the other balances. Marcy looked at Mr. Voss. He tapped his tablet twice. Then again. We need billing. Get billing, General Rusk said. The other billing woman from the hallway had not moved. Her badge was still turned backward. She slowly turned it around. Patricia Horn, billing specialist. General Rusk saw that too. Ms. Horn, can you access open balances? Yes, sir. Do it from a clean terminal. Marcy said, Patricia, don't. That was not advice. It was fear. Patricia walked behind the glass. She chose the check-in terminal, not Marcy's. Jenna moved aside. The printer hummed again. General Rusk handed my receipt back to me. Keep that safe. I almost put it in my pocketbook. Then I stopped. Daniel's flag case had a latch on the back. It was old brass and stiff from dust. I had never opened it in public before. I had opened it at home, at the dining table, with clean hands and no television on. But the receipt suddenly felt safer there than anywhere else. I turned the case against my hip, found the latch, and eased the back open 1 inch. The folded flag sat tight inside, the blue field at the front. Behind the backing board was the narrow gap Daniel had made years before for papers he said mattered more than they looked. I slipped the $6 receipt into that gap. General Rusk watched my hands. His face changed again. Not recognition yet, something close. "Who told you to keep papers there?" he asked. "Daniel." "When?" "Before his last surgery." The word surgery made the room soften. I did not want softness, not then. "He said flimsy papers start heavy fights," I said. He was right. General Rusk nodded once. "Did he keep a letter there?" I looked at him. "What letter?" He did not answer right away. "Marcy did. There is no letter. Her file is a normal survivor account." General Rusk did not look at her. "Mrs. Mercer, did Daniel ever mention a hardship review packet?" I thought of the old folder in my hall closet. Tan, with Daniel's handwriting on the tab. "Linda, VA, keep." "He kept a folder," I said. "At your house?" "Yes. Do you know what's in it?" "Statements, letters, some service papers. Is there a citation packet?" I heard the phrase, and the hall changed under my feet. Citation packet. I had seen those words, not on a certificate wall, not in a frame, on a cover sheet in Daniel's neat army block print. I did not answer fast. Maybe. General Rusk lowered his voice. "Did it mention room 214? Marcy made a frustrated sound. "Sir, this is not relevant to a copay." He turned then. "It may be the only relevant thing here." Mr. Voss took 1 step back. Patricia came out with 3 pages. "Sir?" she said. Her voice was thin. General Rusk took the pages. Mr. Voss leaned in, but Rusk held them low and read them himself. 3 unresolved items, he said. $6 posted paid. $42 pharmacy adjustment pending. No patient responsibility listed. Patricia nodded. "That's what I see." 3rd item? Outside referral flag. Amount? Blank. Fee? Not VA collected. General Rusk looked at the glossy business card again. "Then it isn't a debt." Patricia said nothing. Marcy said, "The outside office handles administrative cleanup. Owned by whom?" Patricia looked at Marcy, then she looked at the floor. General Rusk waited. Patricia's mouth worked once. "I don't have that record here." Marcy exhaled too fast. General Rusk caught it. "Do you know the owner?" Patricia shook her head. "I know the last name." "Say it." "Bell." The room stayed silent. Marcy's eyes went flat. "That's not illegal. No one had accused her of anything yet." That made the sentence worse. Mr. Voss lowered his tablet. "Marcy." "What?" "It's a common name." General Rusk folded the 3 pages together. "Is Bell County Patient Resolution Services affiliated with your family?" Marcy looked at the glass, then the lobby, then me. "My brother-in-law does billing support." There it was. Plain. The grandfather by the fountain whispered, "Lord." Marcy heard him and turned sharp. "You don't know what patients do to this office. They ignore bills for months. They bring scraps. They cry at windows. Then we're supposed to fix everything." General Rusk said, "Mrs. Mercer brought a paid receipt. She brought drama. She brought proof." Marcy pointed at the flag case. "She brought a prop." My arms went cold around it. The Vietnam Cap man stepped forward. "Watch your mouth." General Rusk lifted one hand and the man stopped. That hand did not ask. It settled. Marcy knew she had gone too far. I saw it, and so did she. But pride can keep driving after the bridge is out. She turned to me. "You want everyone to think you're special?" Special. That word was worse than real. I looked at her then. "No," I said. "I want the ledger right." My voice did not shake. I was glad for that. General Rusk looked at Mr. Voss. I need the regional survivor protections file pulled. Mr. Voss stiffened. From Chattanooga? Yes. That can take time. Call now. Sir, the walkthrough schedule is tight. Then the schedule changed. Marcy said, For her? General Rusk looked at the flag case. For the file. That was the first mercy he gave me. He did not make me the issue. He made the record the issue. Records can stand longer than people. Mr. Voss stepped away and took out his phone. He walked toward the hallway near the blood pressure machine and spoke low. Chattanooga Regional, this is Alan Voss at Ocoee Valley. I need a protected survivor file pulled for Daniel Mercer. Sponsor account tied to Linda Mercer. He listened. Then his face tightened. Yes, Mercer. He looked at General Rusk. Yes, he's here. That changed the call. I could not hear the other end, but I saw Mr. Voss straighten. Understood, he said. Secure email first. Courier copy if required. He ended the call. It exists, he said. General Rusk did not move. What exists? A protected file. Marcy spoke too fast. Lots of old accounts have protected files. Mr. Voss looked at her. Not like this. Those 4 words opened something under the morning. Not like this. I wanted to sit down, but every chair felt too far away. Jenna saw it and pulled one over from the wall. Mrs. Mercer, she said, please. I sat with the flag case across my lap. General Rusk crouched a little, not quite kneeling, close enough that I did not have to look up. Mrs. Mercer, Daniel's file may contain a letter. It would have your name on it. What kind? A hardship protection letter. I don't remember one. Many spouses don't. Sometimes the service member files it. Why? His eyes moved to the flag, to keep a promise. That was all he said. It was enough. Marcy crossed her arms. This is getting absurd. Even if some old protection exists, it doesn't erase clinic policy. General Rusk stood. It may override clinic policy. Then why wasn't it on the account? Nobody answered, because the answer had initials. M. Bell. The secure email came 16 minutes later. I know because I watched the clock. 10:43 to 10:59. Not days, not weeks, 16 minutes. In that time, the room did not go back to normal. Appointments continued, but softer. A nurse called names like she was entering a church. Jenna checked in patients without meeting Marcy's eyes. Patricia stayed near the clean terminal. Mr. Voss kept his phone in his hand. Marcy stayed behind the glass. She did not sit. She did not type. She stood with her back half turned, pretending she was not waiting like the rest of us. General Rusk stood near the wall beside a framed poster about caregiver fatigue. He held Daniel's account pages in one hand and the glossy card in the other. That card looked foolish now, too shiny, too smooth, like it had never belonged in a federal clinic. At 10:59, Mr. Voss's tablet chimed. He read the screen. His face changed. Sir. General Rusk walked over. Mr. Voss held the tablet angled away from the room. Encrypted file summary, he said. Full packet requires regional credentials. You have summary access. Yes, sir. Read the status line. Mr. Voss glanced toward me. General Rusk said, Read it. Mr. Voss cleared his throat. Survivor access protected. Hardship review permanent. Local Copay flag restrictions apply. Marcy said, That's summary language. General Rusk said, Keep reading. Mr. Voss looked down. Do not suspend clinical access for unpaid administrative balances without regional review. Jenna covered her mouth. My first thought was stupid and small. Daniel, you filed it right. My second thought was smaller. I should have known. Then I corrected myself. No, someone else should have read it. General Rusk asked, Effective date? Mr. Voss read, March 12, 2011. Daniel had still been alive then. barely walking some mornings, still shaving every day, still folding his shirts like inspections were coming. March 12th. I remembered that day because it had rained over Benton Pike, and Daniel had asked me to drive him to the courthouse square after a VA appointment. He said he needed a notary. I sat in the car with the heater running while he went inside with a folder under his arm. When he came back, he was tired. He tapped the folder once and said, "That's set down straight." I had thought he meant a pension form. I had been married to the man 42 years, and he still kept one thing from me, not from mistrust, from love that did paperwork. General Rusk watched my face. "You remember? I remember the rain?" He nodded as if that answered more than I said. Marcy came out from behind the glass again. "Fine," she said. "If there's protection, we can correct it." General Rusk looked at her. "You already corrected it once." "No, I refreshed a status field. At 10:07. Yes. After payment posted, it was still messy. Messy. The word sat there. She had called my receipts scraps, my flag a prop, my account messy. General Rusk held up the printed activity. Mrs. Mercer's record was protected at opening. Marcy's eyes flicked to the page. "That's not proven." Mr. Voss said, "Jenna saw the marker." Marcy turned on him. "Jenna is new." Jenna stepped out from behind the glass. "No, I'm not." Her voice was quiet, but it carried. "I've worked here 11 months. Marcy rolled her eyes. "That is new." Jenna held up another paper. "I printed the morning batch." Marcy went still. Jenna looked at me first. Then General Rusk. "The daily exception report prints before the windows open. I kept it because Mrs. Mercer asked about the pharmacy code." She handed the page to General Rusk. I didn't know it mattered. He read it. Then he looked at Marcy. "Blue star present at 8:32. Marcy's face lost color. Jenna pointed to the line. "Daniel Mercer, protected survivor access. Pharmacy review pending." General Rusk lowered the page. "That is before Terminal 3. Mr. Voss breathed out hard. Patricia whispered, "Marcy." Marcy's voice came back sharp. "You people are acting like I stole something." The room caught the phrase. "You people." She had said it again. General Rusk did not raise his voice. "No, I am acting like a protected widow was steered to a private fee office after her valid status was removed." Marcy laughed once. It was a bad sound. Over $6. The Vietnam Cap man said, "You keep saying that like it helps you." General Rusk looked at him. "Name?" "Roy Whitcomb." "Veteran?" "1st Cavalry, 71. General Rusk nodded. "Mr. Whitcomb, did you receive the same referral card?" "Yes, sir. Do you have it?" Roy patted his shirt pocket, then his jacket. "Not on me." "It's at home," Marcy said. "This is harassment." General Rusk replied, "This is oversight." That word reached her fear. I saw it happen. Oversight. She had not been afraid of me. She had not been afraid of Jenna. She had not even been afraid of Mr. Voss. But she was afraid of that word. Mr. Voss saw it too. "Marcy," he said, "did you disclose the family connection?" She stared at him. "To whom?" "To this clinic. I don't handle contracts. You hand out the cards. Only when people need help." General Rusk held up my account page. "After you create the need." Marcy stepped back. "That's not fair." "No," I said. Everyone turned. I had not meant to speak, but the word had left me clean. "No," I said again. "It isn't." Marcy looked at me as if I had slapped her. I did not add anything. I did not need to. General Rusk's phone buzzed. He checked the screen. "Regional is sending the full file to the conference room." Mr. Voss nodded. "We can move there." General Rusk shook his head. "Not yet." Marcy's eyes widened. "You're not reading private files in the lobby." "No." He looked at me. "Mrs. Mercer decides where she sits." That was a small sentence. It gave back more than a chair. I looked at the waiting room, at Roy Whitcomb, at the boy by the fountain, at Jenna, pale but standing, at Patricia, holding pages like they might burn her. Then I looked at Marcy. "I'll sit right here." General Rusk nodded. "Then we begin here." Mr. Voss looked nervous. "Sir, we still need the full packet." "Good." General Rusk handed him the glossy card. "While we wait, call Chattanooga Compliance." Marcy said, "No." The word came out before she dressed it. General Rusk looked at her. "No?" She corrected herself. "I mean, that's premature." Mr. Voss did not move. General Rusk said, "Call them." Mr. Voss stepped away again. Marcy watched him dial. That was when I finally understood. The $6 had never been the wound by itself. It was the door she used. Small balances, small fear, small shame. The kind people pay just to make a window open again. I had brought a receipt. Daniel had left a file, and Marcy Bell had counted on both of us being too tired to connect them. Mr. Voss came back from the hallway with his phone still pressed to his ear. "Yes," he said. "I'm aware." He looked at General Rusk, then at Marcy. "No, don't transfer me. I need compliance now." Marcy folded her arms tighter. "This is ridiculous," she said. "You're making this public." General Rusk did not look away from Mr. Voss. "You made it public at the window." Marcy's mouth closed. That landed because it was true. A woman in a blue cardigan near the magazine table lowered her clipboard. A young man with a knee brace stopped scrolling his phone. Even the nurse at the hall entrance stayed still with a chart in her hand. Public has a sound. It is paper not moving. Mr. Voss covered the phone. "They're asking if the patient is present." "She is," General Rusk said. "They're asking if she consents to a protected file review." General Rusk turned to me. "Mrs. Mercer, that choice is yours." I looked down at Daniel's flag case. Consent used to be a word on forms. That morning it felt heavier. I had signed 100 things at counters and desks. I had signed when Daniel was asleep before procedures. I had signed when nobody explained much because there was always another person waiting behind me. This time, no one rushed me. "What does it show?" I asked. "Only what belongs to your benefits file," he said. "Will it show what she changed?" "It should show who touched the record." Marcy said, "That's not how that works." Patricia answered before she could stop herself. "Yes, it is." Marcy turned on her. Patricia looked afraid, but she did not take it back. Mr. Voss moved the phone away from his chest. "Mrs. Mercer?" I ran my thumb along the edge of the flag case. The brass latch was still open a little. The receipt was inside with Daniel's old papers, small and folded. "I consent," I said. Mr. Voss repeated it into the phone. "Patient consents. Linda Mercer." "Yes." Verbal in the lobby. Witnessed by Major General Calvin Rusk, retired, and Clinic Administrator Alan Voss. Marcy gave a short laugh. "Put my name in there too," she said, "since everyone wants a show." General Rusk looked at her. "All right, benefits clerk Marcy Bell is present." That was not what she wanted. Her face tightened. The printer behind Jenna started again. Not the front printer. The larger one in the records alcove. It had a deeper sound. Slow, heavy. Each sheet came out like a decision. Jenna looked toward it. Mr. Voss ended the call. "Compliance is opening a live case note," he said. "They want no one to alter the Mercer account." General Rusk said, "Lock local edits." Mr. Voss hesitated. "Sir, I can suspend local edits on her account." "Do it." Marcy stepped forward. "You can't freeze a live benefits screen during clinic hours." Mr. Voss looked at her. "I can when compliance asks." "Did they ask?" General Rusk said, "They will." Mr. Voss touched his tablet. Marcy watched his finger. That was when her fear changed. Until then, she had been fighting embarrassment. Now she was counting. I knew that look. I had seen it at the post office when a drawer came up short, and somebody remembered the one stamp sheet they had not logged. People do not always confess when the number is wrong. Sometimes they do math first. Jenna brought the first pages from the records alcove. "They're marked summary," she said. Mr. Voss reached for them. General Rusk held out his hand instead. Jenna gave them to him. He read the top page. His jaw moved once. "What is it?" I asked. He held the page lower so I could see the header, though the words were small. Department of Veterans Affairs. Regional Survivor Protection Attachment. Daniel Mercer. Sponsor file. Under that was my name. Linda Mercer. Spouse. Protected access. My name looked strange there. Official. Correct. I had spent years carrying folders to prove I was Daniel's widow. Here it had been written down before I ever asked. General Rusk read quietly, but the lobby still heard him. Local clinical access shall not be suspended for disputed administrative balances. Survivor status tied to citation packet. Manual review required prior to adverse action. Marcy said, "Disputed. That's the key word." General Rusk looked up. She disputed it at the window. She asked a question. "That is a dispute." Marcy shook her head. "You can't treat every question like a legal stop sign. You can't treat every widow like a collection lead." That took the air out of her for a second. Mr. Voss said, "Sir?" He held up his tablet. "The audit log is loading." Marcy's eyes moved to the exit doors. Not far, just once. Roy Whitcomb saw it too. He shifted his cap in his hands. "Don't run now," he said. General Rusk looked at him. "Mr. Whitcomb." Roy raised both hands. "I'm quiet." He was not sorry. Mr. Voss read from the tablet. Protected marker present at 8:32. Viewed by user J. Keller at 8:49. Viewed by user M. Bell at 9:58. Jenna said, "That's when Mrs. Mercer checked in." "Continue," General Rusk said. Mr. Voss swallowed. Manual override entered at 10:07. User M. Bell. Reason code. Pending debt review. Marcy spoke fast. "That is standard." Mr. Voss kept reading. Note added 10:08. Patient advised outside resolution resource. General Rusk asked, "Resource name?" Mr. Voss looked at Marcy. "Bell County Patient Resolution Services." The room went silent. Not quiet. Silent. Marcy lifted her chin. "It's a vendor option." General Rusk held up the glossy card. "It's a family option." "You don't know that," Patricia said. "Marcy, don't," Marcy snapped. Patricia stepped back, but she spoke anyway. "I mailed those cards for you." Marcy froze. Mr. Voss looked at Patricia. "What cards?" Patricia's hand went to her badge. "The first batch. Last year." Marcy said they were approved patient resources. Marcy said, "You misunderstood." Patricia shook her head. "No, I remember the box." General Rusk said, "Where did it ship from?" Patricia looked at him. Cleveland Road, same return address as her sister's Christmas cards. Marcy's face changed then. It was not anger, it was hate for a detail. Details and more lies than speeches. General Rusk said, "Ms. Horn, has compliance asked for a statement?" "Not yet." "They will." "Write down what you remember while it's fresh." Marcy pointed at her. "You better be careful." General Rusk took one step toward Marcy. "That stops now." His voice did not rise. It did not need to. Mr. Voss touched his tablet again. "The freeze is active. No local edits." Marcy stared at him. "You locked me out?" "From the Mercer account," he said. General Rusk said, "Any related account touched today?" Mr. Voss looked down. "Searching." Marcy said, "Related how?" "Survivor protections," General Rusk said. "Outside referral notes. Same reason code." Marcy laughed again, but it was weaker. "You can't search everybody because one woman cried." "I didn't cry," I said. The words came out before I thought. They were small, but they were mine. Marcy looked at me. I held her eyes. I paid. That was all. Jenna came back with more pages. There's a second section, she said. It was behind the summary. General Rusk took it. His face changed before he said anything. Mr. Voss leaned in. What? General Rusk did not hand it over. This page is redacted. From regional? Yes. Marcy said, Then you can't use it. General Rusk ignored her. He read the visible lines. Attachment to citation review. Headquarters, United States Army. Permanent survivor protection recommended. Sponsor Daniel Mercer. Rank at discharge, Sergeant First Class. I closed my eyes for one breath. Sergeant First Class, Daniel Mercer. I had heard that full rank at ceremonies. I had seen it on envelopes. But in that lobby, after Marcy had called my flag a prop, it sounded like a door opening. General Rusk continued. Service dates, September 1968 to October 1991. 1st Cavalry Division. Later attached to Army Medical Logistics, Chattanooga Support. Roy Whitcomb whispered, 1st Cav. General Rusk looked at him. You knew him? Roy shook his head. Not by face, but I know the patch. General Rusk looked back at the page. Protected citation reference. Room 214. Marcy's eyes moved to mine. She had heard that phrase before. I saw it. General Rusk saw it too. You recognize that? He asked her. No. You reacted. I reacted because this is theater. Mr. Voss looked at the paper. Room 214. What is that? General Rusk was quiet. For the first time since he entered the hallway, he seemed older, not weaker, just farther away. Then he folded the page back. Not yet. Marcy seized on it. Exactly. Not relevant. General Rusk said, It is relevant. It is also protected. Then stop waving it around. I am not waving anything. He placed the page flat on Mr. Voss's tablet case. The movement was careful, controlled. This is why a local clerk does not remove a marker because she dislikes a widow at a window. Marcy's jaw worked. I didn't dislike her. The grandfather by the fountain spoke without looking up. You sure talked like it? His grandson touched his sleeve. The old man did not move. Mr. Voss said, Search results are coming in. He stared at the tablet, then he rubbed his forehead. How many? General Rusk asked. Mr. Voss did not answer at once. Allen, General Rusk said. 7 accounts, Mr. Voss said. Marcy looked away. General Rusk said, Read the categories. Mr. Voss did. Surviving spouse, hardship review, pharmacy adjustment, outside referral note. Patricia sat down hard in the chair by the wall. Jenna covered her mouth again. I did not feel victory. That surprised me. I thought proof would feel like relief. It did not. It felt like standing in a room and seeing other chairs where other women had sat. Other folders, other checks, other small fees made large. General Rusk asked, Same user? Mr. Voss breathed in. Most are Monsieur Bell. Most? One is P. Horn. Patricia looked up fast. No. Marcy turned toward her. Careful. Patricia stood. No. I didn't. Mr. Voss looked at the log. User P. Horn entered referral note on September 9. Patricia's face went white. I was out that day. Marcy said, You took a long lunch. No, Patricia said. My mother had surgery in Knoxville. I used leave. Mr. Voss tapped the tablet. Leave record? I can show it. Marcy folded her arms again. This is why audit logs are messy. General Rusk looked at Mr. Voss. Pull terminal ID. Mr. Voss tapped. Terminal 3. Jenna said, That's Marcy's station. Marcy said, We share terminals. Jenna shook her head. No, we don't. You told us not to. That was true enough that Marcy did not answer. General Rusk turned to Patricia. Did you give anyone your login? No, sir, Marcy said. People forget. Patricia looked at her. You asked for it. The lobby held still again. General Rusk said, Say that again. Patricia's voice shook. She asked for my login, said she needed to print end-of-day corrections. I said no. When? September 8th. And September 9th? I was in Knoxville. Mr. Voss stared at Marcy. Did you use Patricia's credentials? Marcy did not speak. Marcy, he said. She looked at the glass window. I don't remember. That answer told everyone enough. General Rusk took out his own phone. He dialed from memory. Rusk, Ocoee Valley. I need the regional compliance lead on speaker. Mr. Voss said, Sir, we have patients. General Rusk looked around the lobby. Yes, we do. He put the call on speaker only after he heard a voice. A woman answered. This is Denise Caldwell, Regional Compliance. General Rusk said, Denise, Calvin Rusk. I am in the public lobby at Ocoee Valley with patient consent from Linda Mercer. Local Administrator Alan Voss is present. Benefits Clerk Marcy Bell is present. Marcy whispered, Unbelievable. Denise Caldwell's voice came through clean. Is the account frozen? Mr. Voss stepped closer. Yes. Local edits frozen. Good. Do not reopen it. General Rusk said, We have 7 related accounts with outside referral notes. We see them, Denise said. Marcy's eyes widened. That was the first time she looked truly cornered. Denise continued. We also see a pending review already opened last month. Mr. Voss blinked. Last month? Yes. Pattern audit. Same clinic. Same reason code. Same outside vendor. Marcy whispered, No. There it was. Her hidden fear had a date. General Rusk said, Was Mercer included? Not until today, Denise said. Her account brought the protected file conflict forward. I looked down at the flag case. $6, a receipt, a name in a system. Daniel had always said small things were only small until they lined up. Denise said, We need the original patient object. General Rusk looked at me. What object? I asked. The receipt, he said gently. My hands tightened around the case. For a moment, I wanted to say no. Not because I distrusted him, because I had just put that slip beside Daniel's flag, and it felt wrong to open the case again in front of people who had already taken enough from the morning. General Rusk saw the pause. You don't have to hand it over, he said. You can show it. Marcy said, It's a receipt. She could have anything in there. Roy Whitcomb turned toward her. Lady, quit digging. General Rusk did not correct him that time. I set the flag case on my knees. My fingers found the latch. It took 2 tries because my thumb had gone stiff. The backing opened just enough. The receipt sat in the narrow gap Daniel had made. White paper against old cardboard. Jenna drew in a breath. Patricia looked down. I took the receipt out and held it flat with both hands. General Rusk did not grab it. He waited until I nodded. Then he took it by the edge. Paid Copay receipt, he said into the phone. $6. Timestamp 10:03. Ocoee Valley Fave, a outpatient clinic. Denise asked, Can you read the account line? General Rusk lowered his eyes. Patient Linda Mercer, sponsor Daniel Mercer. There was a pause on the speaker. Then Denise said, That sponsor file should have blocked adverse action. General Rusk looked at Marcy. It did. Denise said, Who overrode? Mr. Voss answered. Monsieur Bell, 10:07. Denise's voice sharpened. 4 minutes after payment? Yes. Marcy stepped toward the phone. I had pending balances on the screen. Denise said, Identify yourself. Marcy swallowed. Marcy Bell, benefits clerk. Ms. Bell, do not discuss your reasoning on an open line without union representation if you intend to contest the log. Marcy froze. The words sounded polite. They were not soft. General Rusk said, "Denise, what is the immediate patient remedy?" "Restore all access markers," she said. "Remove delinquency language. Suppress outside referral notes. Issue written correction." Mr. Voss nodded quickly. "I can do that once compliance unlocks." "Compliance will do it," Denise said. "Local staff will not alter the account." Mr. Voss looked ashamed. "Understood," Denise continued. "Mrs. Mercer must receive printed confirmation before she leaves." I looked at the phone. "Ma'am?" "Yes, Mrs. Mercer. My pharmacy line still says $42 pending." General Rusk's eyes moved to me. So did Jenna's. Even then, the number had stayed in my head. I had matched the CPT line before anyone cared. That was not pride. That was training. A post office drawer is either right or it is not. Denise said, "Do you have the CPT code?" I reached into my pocketbook and pulled the folded VA statement. Marcy made a sound under her breath. General Rusk held out his hand, but I shook my head. "I can read it." He nodded once. "CPTJ 0739, I said, "listed as pharmacy supply, but the clinic printout says adjustment pending, no patient responsibility." Denise was quiet for 2 seconds. "Mrs. Mercer, where did you get that comparison?" "From their printout and my statement." "When?" "This morning." General Rusk's mouth moved almost into a smile. Denise said, "Mr. Voss, add the pharmacy mismatch to the live case." "Yes, ma'am." I folded the statement back. Marcy stared at me like I had changed shape. I had not. I had been this same woman at the window. She just had not looked. The records printer started once more. Jenna went to get the pages. This time, she did not ask Marcy where to stand. She walked past her and returned to General Rusk. "Full packet cover," she said. General Rusk read it silently first. Then he looked at me. "Mrs. Mercer, this cover page references a letter addressed to you." "My letter?" "Yes." "From Daniel?" "No," he said. "From the regional office, based on Daniel's filing." Marcy said, "If she never got it, that's not on me." General Rusk looked at the date. March 15th, 2011. Mr. Voss said, 3 days after the effective date. I remembered the rain again, Daniel coming back from the courthouse square, the wet shoulders of his jacket, his hand on the folder. "Was it mailed?" I asked. General Rusk scanned the page. "It says issued. I don't remember it." Mr. Voss said, "Old mail scans may show delivery." General Rusk asked Denise through the phone. "Can Regional see issuance history?" Denise answered. "Yes. Opening now." Marcy looked relieved. That was interesting. She wanted the missing letter to become the issue. A lost envelope. A mailing question. Something old enough to blur. But Denise came back fast. Letter issued to clinic hold file. Mr. Voss frowned. "Not mailed?" "No. Clinic hold for patient pickup." General Rusk looked up slowly. Marcy's face went blank. Denise continued. "Marked picked up March 22, 2011. I said, "No." The word came out flat. Daniel had been home that day. I remembered because a neighbor brought soup, and he slept through Wheel of Fortune with the sound low. We did not go to Ocoee Valley that week. General Rusk asked, "Signature?" Denise said, "Initials only." Mr. Voss closed his eyes. "What initials?" Denise said, "MB." Marcy said, "I didn't work here then." General Rusk turned to Mr. Voss. "Did she?" Mr. Voss nodded slowly. "Part-time. Records intake." Marcy said, "That was 15 years ago." March 22, 2011, General Rusk said. "I don't remember every paper. No one asked if you remembered." Denise said, "The hold file pickup will require document review. For now, the absence of patient receipt strengthens the correction." The room understood enough. Daniel had filed a protection. The VA had issued a letter. It had been held at the clinic, marked picked up by initials that matched Marcy Bell. And for years, I had stood at windows like I was asking for mercy. I did not feel hot. I felt clear. General Rusk placed the receipt on top of the cover page. He did not read the final letter. Not yet. He only aligned the paper edges with 2 fingers. A $6 receipt. A protected file. A missing letter. They fit. Marcy saw it fit, too. She looked at me then, not at the general. "You don't know what that job was like," she said. Nobody answered. She kept going. People came in angry every day. They yelled. They blamed us for everything. The system was broken. General Rusk said, "So you sold them a side door." I didn't sell anything. Your brother-in-law did. He helped people. I said, "Did he help me?" She looked at me. Her eyes were wet now, but I did not trust that yet. "Your account was complicated." "No," I said. "It was protected." The word echoed in me. Protected. Not special, not messy, not drama. Protected. Jenna went back behind the glass and answered a ringing phone. Her voice was steady. "Ocoee Valley 5, a outpatient clinic. Please hold." Normal life kept trying to return. It could not quite get in. Denise Caldwell spoke again. "Major General Rusk, I am sending an interim correction to the clinic printer. Mrs. Mercer should review it. After that, we need a private statement if she agrees." General Rusk looked at me. "Private means conference room," he said. "Door open or closed, your choice." I looked at Marcy, then at the waiting room. Roy Whitcomb gave one small nod. Not advice, just witness. "Door open," I said. General Rusk nodded. "Door open." Marcy said, "Am I expected to stand here like a criminal?" Denise answered from the phone before anyone else did. "Ms. Bell, you are expected to remain available." Marcy's mouth tightened. That was worse for her than being shouted at. Mr. Voss said, "Marcy, step away from the window." She did not move. He said it again. "Step away from the window." For a second, I thought she would refuse. Then she took one step back. Jenna moved into the space she left. She did not look at Marcy. She looked at me through the glass. "Mrs. Mercer," she said, "your correction is printing." The printer gave 3 sharp sounds. Jenna picked up the pages. Her hands shook less now. She carried them around the side door instead of sliding them under the glass. That mattered to me more than it should have. She handed them to General Rusk first. He read the first page and passed it to me. "Read it yourself," he said. I did. Linda Mercer, survivor access active, delinquency removed, no suspension authorized, pharmacy adjustment under review, no patient responsibility pending regional completion. Outside referral note suppressed. I read it twice. Then I read the date, July 8, 2026. Today. Not backdated, not hidden in a system. Today, in Cedar Bluff, Tennessee, off Veterans Drive, where everyone had heard Marcy laugh. General Rusk said, "Is it accurate?" I looked at my statement. Then at the receipt. Then at the correction. "It is now." Mr. Voss lowered his head. "Mrs. Mercer, I owe you an apology." Marcy looked sharply at him. He did not look back. "I was responsible for this clinic," he said. "I should have caught it." I believed he meant it. I also believed meaning it did not undo it. "Then catch the rest," I said. He nodded. "I will." General Rusk handed me the $6 receipt. I took it and opened the flag case again. This time I did not hide the motion. I slid the receipt back behind Daniel's flag, in the narrow space he had made. I set it down straight. When I closed the latch, the click sounded louder than it was. General Rusk looked toward the conference room. "Mrs. Mercer, we'll take your statement now." Marcy said, "So that's it? She gets to sit there and accuse me?" General Rusk turned. No. She gets to state what happened. Marcy's lips pressed together. And then? Then the documents speak. That was the kindest answer he could have given her. We walked toward the conference room. I carried the flag case against my chest. Roy Whitcomb stepped aside. The woman in the blue cardigan did too. No one clapped. No one made a scene. I was grateful for that. At the doorway, I looked back. Marcy stood near the glass with her badge turned forward now. Monsieur Bell. Benefits clerk. For the first time all morning, she looked like she could read her own name. General Rusk pulled out a chair for me inside the conference room. Mr. Voss stood by the open door. Jenna brought a cup of water and set it near my hand. Thank you, I said. She nodded. I'm sorry I didn't push harder. You printed the report. I almost threw it away. But you didn't. She looked at the pages in General Rusk's hand. No, ma'am. General Rusk sat across from me. His voice softened. Start at the window. So I did. I told them about the $6, about Marcy's words, about the blue star Jenna saw, about the pharmacy line, about the glossy card, about the stamp at 10:07. I did not dress it up. I did not cry. When I finished, General Rusk asked one question. Did anyone tell you Bell County Patient Resolution Services was privately connected to clinic staff? No. Did anyone tell you it was optional? No. Did anyone tell you your protected status required regional review? No. Mr. Voss wrote each answer down. General Rusk placed the redacted citation cover beside my correction notice. Mrs. Mercer, I need to ask about Daniel's folder at home. My hall closet? Yes. What about it? The full packet may contain the original protection letter, or his copy of the filing. I looked at the flag case. He wrote, Linda, VA, keep. General Rusk nodded. That sounds like him. You knew his handwriting? A shadow crossed his face. I knew his reports. That was all he said. Not yet. The words, room 214, sat between us, but he did not open them. I understood why. Some records do not belong to a lobby. Some memories do not belong to strangers. Still, the file had started moving, and Marcy Bell could not stop it from behind glass anymore. Mr. Voss stopped writing when I said hall closet. General Rusk noticed. What is it? Mr. Voss looked at the open door. Marcy stood just outside the conference room. She was far enough to pretend she was not listening. She was close enough to hear every word. Those files may contain protected material, Mr. Voss said. Marcy gave a dry laugh. From a closet? General Rusk turned his head. Step back. I'm not interfering. You're listening. Her face changed. Not much. Enough, Mr. Voss said, Marcy, go sit by the intake desk. She looked at Jenna through the glass. Jenna did not move for her. That left Marcy with nowhere useful to stand. She crossed the lobby and sat down hard in a blue chair near the wall. General Rusk looked back at me. Mrs. Mercer, did Daniel keep his VA papers together? Yes. In a folder? A green folder, rubber band around it. Any label? Linda, VA, keep. He wrote that down himself. Did anyone from this clinic ever ask for that folder? No. Did Marcy Bell? I looked past him to the doorway. Marcy stared at the floor. She asked once if I had old papers, I said. When? After Daniel passed. What did you tell her? I said I had everything. What did she say? I had to sit with that for a second, not because I forgot, because I remembered it too plainly. She said old papers confuse widows. Jenna, still near the door, looked down. General Rusk repeated it once. Old papers confuse widows. He did not raise his voice. That made it worse. Marcy called from the lobby. That's not a crime. General Rusk did not look at her. No one asked you. Denise Caldwell was still on speaker. Her voice came through low and sharp. Mrs. Mercer, do not bring that folder to the clinic without a chain receipt. I looked at the phone. A what? A custody receipt, she said. If those documents support Daniel Mercer's protection file, we need to log them before anyone handles them. Mr. Voss said, we can send staff. Denise answered at once. No local staff. That landed hard. Mr. Voss nodded, though she could not see him. Understood. General Rusk said, I can accompany her. Denise paused. As regional oversight? As witness. And the documents stay with Mrs. Mercer unless she signs release. Yes. I set my hand on the flag case. I don't know if I want people in my house. General Rusk leaned back. Then we don't go. Mr. Voss looked surprised. Sir, if the packet is needed, it can wait until she decides. That was the first time that day anyone made room for no. I looked through the conference door. The lobby had gone back to its half-normal shape. A man coughed into his sleeve. The TV above the corner showed weather with no sound. Roy Whitcomb sat with his cane upright between his knees. He was pretending not to watch us and failing. I said, It's not the house. General Rusk waited. It's Daniel's things. I know. I don't like them handled. Then you handle them. Denise said, Mrs. Mercer, you may also photograph pages. I said, I don't have a phone that does that well. Jenna stepped in. We have a scanner. Marcy laughed once from the lobby. Oh, now we trust Jenna? Jenna turned toward her. No, Mrs. Mercer can run it herself. That quieted the lobby again. Mr. Voss looked at Jenna. Can a patient use the scanner? Jenna said, with supervision. Marcy said, policy doesn't allow that. General Rusk looked at Mr. Voss. Does policy allow a clerk to override a protected file 4 minutes after payment? No one answered. Jenna's cheeks went red, but she did not back down. It's the flatbed in records. It doesn't feed originals. She can place each page herself. Denise said, that is acceptable if regional receives the scan directly. Mr. Voss said, I'll set the destination. No, Denise said. Jenna can set it while I'm on the line. Jenna swallowed. Yes, ma'am. Marcy stood. I'm being cut out of my own department. General Rusk looked through the door. Your department is under review. Because she cried? I did not cry. I had not cried once. Roy Whitcomb stood up before anyone else moved. She didn't cry. Marcy looked at him. Sit down, Roy. He did not. He was not tall, and age had bent one shoulder. Still, when he put both hands on his cane, she looked smaller. She paid, he said. You laughed. Marcy's mouth opened, then closed. General Rusk rose from the conference table. Mr. Voss, keep the lobby orderly. Yes, sir. Mrs. Mercer, we can pause here. I looked at the correction notice in front of me. My name was right. Daniel's name was right. The date was right. But the old letter was not right. The hold file was not right. MB was not right. I had spent years thinking I had missed something. A form, a renewal, a line in small print. That is what shame does when it has nowhere to go. It sits down in your chair and uses your voice. I said, no, I want my folder. General Rusk nodded once. Then we'll go. Mr. Voss said, I can arrange transport. My car's outside. You don't have to drive, General Rusk said. I drove here. That doesn't mean you have to drive back. I looked at him. I'm not fragile. No, ma'am. He said it cleanly, no pity in it. I gathered the correction notice, the statement, and the redacted citation cover. I put them in date order. The old habit steadied my hands. General Rusk noticed. Post office? 31 years. Window? Window, route ledger, and claims counter. That explains the CPT line. It explains a lot. He almost smiled again. Yes, ma'am. As we stepped back into the lobby, Marcy stood near the chairs with her badge still turned forward. She was trying to look wronged. She had chosen the wrong room for that. Mr. Voss walked to the payment window. Jenna, close window 2. Jenna looked at Marcy. Mr. Voss repeated himself. Close window 2. Jenna slid the sign into place. It said, please use next window. Plain words. Big consequence. Marcy said, Alan. He did not turn. You're off payment access. You can't do that. I just did. Denise Caldwell's voice came from his phone now. Access suspension logged at 11:12. Marcy's face went pale. That was a new number. 11:12. Another timestamp. Numbers have a way of taking sides. I walked toward the clinic doors with the flag case in both arms. Roy Whitcomb touched 2 fingers to his cap. The woman in the blue cardigan nodded to me. Nobody made it big. That helped. Outside, the July heat rose off the pavement. Cedar Bluff was bright in that hard, late-morning way, with trucks moving along Veterans Drive and the flag near the clinic sign snapping in short pulls. My old Buick sat in the second row. Daniel's folded flag had left a clean square on the passenger seat where dust did not settle. General Rusk stopped beside the car. May I? He meant the door. I nodded. He opened the passenger door, then stepped back. He did not touch the seat. He did not touch the case. I set the flag case where it always rode. Then I stood there with my hand on the roof. You knew Daniel in Chattanooga? I asked. General Rusk looked toward the clinic building. 40 miles south of here most days. But yes. Room 214. His jaw tightened once. You said it in the hallway, I said. I did. What was it? He took a breath. A room number in a report. That's all? No. I waited. He looked at me then, not at the case. It was a room we couldn't clear on paper, he said. Daniel's citation was tied to it. Some names stayed protected. Mine? Eventually. Why? Because he asked. That hit me harder than I expected. Daniel was not a man who asked for much. He would stand in rain before asking someone to move a chair. He would use one tea bag twice. He would say a torn shirt still had Saturdays in it. But he had asked for me. I looked through the windshield at the flag case. He never told me. He may not have been allowed. Or he thought I'd worry. Maybe both. A sedan pulled into the clinic lot and slowed behind us. The driver waited, then went around. Life kept going. Benton Pike traffic did not care what was being uncovered in a VA file. General Rusk said, Mrs. Mercer, you can still stop. I shook my head. No. All right. He walked to his government sedan parked near the side entrance. Mr. Voss came out with Jenna behind him. Jenna held a clipboard and a sealed evidence sleeve. Marcy stood inside the glass doors, watching. She did not come out. Jenna looked at me. Mrs. Mercer, Denise said to give you this before you leave. She handed me the sleeve. It was empty, with a printed chain form clipped to it. This is for copies only, Jenna said, not originals. I read the top line. Patient provided document scan receipt. My name was already typed there. Linda Mercer. I said, you spelled it right. Jenna looked confused. Yes, ma'am. That matters. Her eyes softened. I know now. Mr. Voss said, I'll remain here with compliance. General Rusk said, good. Marcy pushed through the clinic doors then. Alan, I need my purse from behind the counter. Mr. Voss stepped into her path. I'll get it. It has medication. I'll get it now. Marcy looked at General Rusk. You think I'm running? He said, I think you're being watched. Her eyes moved to me. You're enjoying this. I had not expected that. Not after the documents. Not after the line with her initials. Still, there it was. She needed me to be cruel so she could feel balanced. I said, no. She laughed, but it broke in the middle. Right. I'm tired. That was all. Her face shifted. For 1 second, she looked less angry than afraid. Then Mr. Voss opened the door and went inside to get her purse. General Rusk said, "Stay in the lobby, Ms. Bell." She did. I drove first. General Rusk followed. Jenna did not come. That was right. She had already done enough for the morning, and her work was inside the clinic now. The road from Veterans Drive to my house was not far. Cedar Bluff is the kind of place where a person can pass the grocery, the church sign, the tire shop, and 3 memories before a song ends. I kept both hands on the wheel. At the light near Benton Pike, I looked in the rearview mirror. General Rusk's sedan sat 2 car lengths behind me, not crowding, not drifting. Following like he understood escort meant witness, not command. My house sat on a narrow lot with a maple Daniel planted too close to the porch. The roots had lifted 1 corner of the walk. He used to say he would fix it when the weather broke. The weather broke 15 times. I parked in the drive and sat a moment. General Rusk parked at the curb. He did not get out until I did. That mattered too. Inside, the house smelled faintly of coffee and paper. I had left my morning cup by the sink. The hall closet door was closed. I stood in front of it with the flag case in my arms. General Rusk waited near the living room doorway. "You can sit," I said. "I'm fine." "You're too tall for that doorway." He looked up, then stepped aside. "Fair." I set the flag case on the small table by the sofa. Then I opened the hall closet. Daniel's coats hung on the left, mine on the right. The green folder sat on the top shelf behind a tin of buttons and 2 old Christmas candles. I had put it there because it was safe. I had not understood safe could become hidden. I took it down myself. The rubber band had dried and cracked. When I touched it, it gave way. General Rusk said, slowly, "I know paper." "Yes, ma'am." I carried the folder to the kitchen table. I wiped the table first. Not because it was dirty, because Daniel would have. Then I set it down straight. The first page was his handwriting. Linda, V.A., keep. Under that, smaller. Do not let them separate letter from receipt. My mouth went dry. General Rusk did not step closer. "May I see from there?" I turned the folder so he could read without touching it. He went still. I said, "Did you know he wrote that?" "No." "What receipt?" "I don't know yet." I opened the folder. The top section held ordinary papers, appointment summaries, pharmacy printouts, mileage forms, a copy of our marriage certificate. Daniel had paper-clipped things by year. Of course he had. He said a mess was just work postponed. Then I found a sheet folded around a smaller envelope. The envelope was not sealed. On the front, Daniel had written 1 line. "If they say you owe, match dates." Inside was a copy of the March 15th, 2011 letter. Not the original, a copy. I read the first line aloud because I needed the room to hear it. "Dear Mrs. Mercer, this letter confirms survivor protection status associated with Service File D M7214. General Rusk closed his eyes for 1 second. I kept reading. "Clinic access and pharmacy continuation are not to be suspended for routine copay dispute without regional review." My voice thinned on the last words. Without regional review. All those years that sentence had been in my house. I had not known. General Rusk said, "Mrs. Mercer, look at the bottom." I looked. There was a distribution list. Regional office. Ocoee Valley Clinic hold file. Patient copy. Beside patient copy, Daniel had written 1 word. Missing. Not lost. Missing. I looked up. He knew. He suspected. He never told me. He protected you from the fight. I shook my head. No, he left me the fight. General Rusk accepted that. Yes, ma'am. I turned the page. Behind the letter was a copy of a VA form with Daniel's signature dated March 12, 2011. 3 days before the letter. The same date Mr. Voss had mentioned in the clinic. The form had a line near the bottom. Requested hardship hold tied to citation packet and surviving spouse access. Then a number. Citation review attachment. Room 214 supplemental statement. I touched the page with 2 fingers. There it is, General Rusk said. Room 214? Yes. What does it mean for the file? It means the protection wasn't routine. He moved 1 step closer, then stopped. May I read the citation number? I nodded. He leaned in. ARCOM-V device review. Supplemental index CR 9762, he said softly. Later upgraded under classified annex. I stared at the letters. That's Daniel? Yes. He told me he drove supply. General Rusk gave a small, sad smile. He did drive supply. And sometimes supply drivers are the only ones who can reach people. I looked back at the page. There were more service specifics than Daniel ever said at our table. 1st Battalion, 502nd Infantry Support Attachment. Deployment year 1991. Temporary duty with the 101st Airborne Division Support Element. Evacuation route outside Dhahran. After action note sealed. Witness Officer Calvin Rusk, then Lieutenant Colonel. I read his name and looked up. You signed this? I did. You were there? Yes. My hand went flat on the table. The kitchen clock ticked above the sink. A truck passed outside. The house stayed ordinary around a thing that was not ordinary at all. General Rusk said, Mrs. Mercer, Daniel's file had a protected survivor marker because his report named civilians and service members who were still shielded later. Room 214 never got cleared. On paper, he said. Not in life. I understood enough to stop asking. Some details belonged to the people who carried them. I lifted the next page. Behind the citation copy was a ledger Daniel had made by hand. Date, clinic, payment, receipt, result. His handwriting grew smaller near the end, but the columns stayed straight. March 22, 2011. Letter not received. Clinic says picked up. Ask again. April 6, 2011. Marcy B. says no hold letter in file. I looked up fast. General Rusk's face hardened. I read the next line. April 6, paid $3, receipt filed, then another. June 19, 2012. Linda pharmacy question. Told balance routine. No review. My chair scraped when I sat down. He was tracking her, I said. He was tracking the file. No, I said. Her. I turned the ledger toward him. Halfway down, Daniel had drawn a small star beside 3 entries. Not blue, just pencil. MB at window. MB says old file closed. MB says spouse status expired. General Rusk leaned over the table. He did not touch the page. Daniel knew enough to worry, he said. He didn't accuse. No. He documented. That was Daniel. I almost laughed. It came out as breath. Yes, I said. That was Daniel. A knock came at the front door. Both of us looked up. General Rusk stepped away from the table. Are you expecting anyone? No. He moved toward the front hall. Stay here. I'm in my own house. He paused. Please stay here. I stayed. He opened the door only part way. A woman's voice said, Mrs. Mercer? General Rusk answered. Identify yourself. It's Denise Caldwell. Regional Compliance. I drove from Chattanooga. I stood so quickly the chair bumped the cabinet. General Rusk opened the door wider. Denise Caldwell stood on my porch in a navy jacket, holding a slim case and a phone. She was younger than I expected and more tired than her voice had sounded. She looked past him to me. "Mrs. Mercer, may I come in?" I looked at General Rusk. He nodded. "Your choice." I said, "Come in." Denise stepped inside and stopped on the rug. She did not look around my house. She looked at the folder on the kitchen table. "Did you find the patient copy?" she asked. "Yes." "May I observe without handling?" "Yes." She came to the kitchen doorway. When she saw Daniel's handwritten ledger, her mouth tightened. General Rusk said, "There are entries naming MB in 2011. Denise said, "Then this is older than the vendor pattern." "What vendor pattern?" I asked. She looked at me. Bell County Patient Resolution Services began billing widows in 2023, but the access interference may have started before the business. Before her brother-in-law? Yes. General Rusk said, "Who was records lead in 2011? Denise checked her phone. Temporary intake lead was Marcy Bell 3 afternoons a week. I sat back down. The chair felt hard under me, real, useful. Denise said, "Mrs. Mercer, I need to say this plainly. Your documents may show that the original protection letter was kept from you." By Marcy. They may show that. General Rusk looked at her. Denise. She met his eyes. "I can't say more than the documents support." I said, "Good." They both looked at me. "I spent years with people saying more than papers supported," I said. "Don't start now." Denise gave one firm nod. Understood. She opened her slim case and took out a portable scanner no bigger than a book. "I brought this for your table," she said. "You place each page. I scan. Originals stay here." I looked at the machine, then I looked at Daniel's note. "Do not let them separate letter from receipt." I said, "The receipt is at the clinic." General Rusk said, "In the flag case?" I looked toward the living room. "No," I said. "The $6 one is, but Daniel meant another receipt." Denise looked at the ledger. "March 22? I followed her eyes. That date had no payment amount, just the missing letter, but the next page had a small taped slip. The paper was faded, almost gray. $3. Ocoee Valley Feeve, a outpatient clinic. April 6, 2011. Clerk initials MB. Under it, Daniel had written one sentence. Same window, same answer. General Rusk read it out loud. Denise said, "That links the early denial to the same clerk." I looked at the old $3 receipt. Then I thought of my $6 receipt inside the flag case. Daniel had left a line from then to now. Not loud, not dramatic, just paper touching paper across years. The false bottom was not under the flag. It was in the habit he taught me. Keep the receipt, match the date, set it down straight. Denise began scanning. I placed each page myself. The scanner made a soft pass and sent the image to her secure tablet. After each one, she turned the screen toward me. "Confirm," she said. I read every file name. Mercer patient copy March 15th. Confirmed. Mercer handwritten ledger page 1. Confirmed. Mercer April 6th receipt. Confirmed. Mercer citation attachment cover. Confirmed. When the room 214 page came up, Denise stopped. "This page is restricted," she said. General Rusk said, "Scan cover only." I looked at him. "Why?" "Names. Daniel's name is there. So are others." I nodded. "Cover only." Denise scanned only the top portion, then she turned the tablet toward me. I saw Daniel Mercer. I saw Calvin Rusk. I saw the citation number. I saw the words "surviving spouse protection." That was enough for now. Denise said, "Regional now has authenticated patient-held copies. What happens next?" We returned to Ocoee Valley. My stomach tightened. General Rusk saw it. You don't have to come. Yes, I do. Denise said, Mrs. Mercer, the clinic administrator can receive the notice without you. No, I said. Marcy said it in public. Neither of them spoke. I closed the green folder and put the cracked rubber band beside it. Then I found a new band in the kitchen drawer. I wrapped it once, careful not to bend the corners. Daniel's handwriting stayed on top. Linda, V.A. Keep. I carried the folder to the living room and set it beside the flag case. I opened the case again. The $6 receipt was still in its narrow space. I did not remove it. Not yet. I looked at General Rusk. Can the old receipt ride with it? Yes. I took the faded $3 receipt and placed it in the same space as the $6 receipt, but not under it. Beside it. 2 small slips, 15 years apart, same window, same answer. Denise watched without speaking. General Rusk looked toward the floor. I closed the case. The latch clicked. I said, All right. On the drive back to Ocoee Valley, I did not feel brave. I felt exact. That is different. Brave can run hot and leave you shaking. Exact gives your hands a job. At the clinic, the parking lot had filled. Lunch hour patients had arrived. A white van from Chattanooga sat near the side entrance. 2 men in shirt sleeves stood by it with badges clipped to their belts. Denise parked beside them. General Rusk walked on my left. Denise walked on my right. I carried the flag case and the green folder. Nobody touched either one. Inside, the lobby was louder than before. More patients, more chairs full, more eyes. Marcy sat near the intake desk with her purse on her lap. She looked up when we entered. Then she saw the green folder. Her fingers tightened around the purse strap. Mr. Voss came out from behind the glass. Mrs. Mercer. I said, I brought Daniel's folder. Marcy stood. That's personal property. Denise said, it remains Mrs. Mercer's property. You went to her house? With consent. Marcy looked at General Rusk. Of course. General Rusk said, sit down. I'm not a dog. No, he said. Your staff under administrative instruction. A few people in the lobby turned. Marcy sat. Denise walked to the center counter, not behind the glass. She set her tablet down. Mr. Voss, she said, Regional Compliance is issuing a preservation notice. He nodded. For Mercer? For Mercer and all accounts with the shared referral marker. Marcy said, shared doesn't mean improper. Denise looked at her. No, documents do. That shut her mouth. Jenna came from records with the scanner login page already open. She looked at the green folder and then at me. Do you need the flatbed? She asked. Already scanned, Denise said. Jenna nodded. Good. Marcy stared at Jenna. You're happy? Jenna's voice stayed low. No. You look happy. I look awake. That one reached the chairs. Roy Whitcomb was still there. He had missed his appointment or refused to leave. He sat in the same place, cane upright, eyes on the counter. Mr. Voss said, Denise, where do you want us? Public notice first. Names redacted. Marcy stood again. Public? Denise said, the affected patients were approached in this lobby. The correction begins here. No, Marcy said. You can't read private accounts out here. We won't. General Rusk looked at the chairs. No private diagnoses, no balances, no protected names beyond Mrs. Mercer with consent. Denise turned to me. Do you consent to your correction being acknowledged? I looked at the people waiting. Some had watched me be laughed at. Some had only heard pieces, but every one of them knew that window. Yes, I said. Denise lifted one page. Linda Mercer's access correction has been entered, she said. Her account is not delinquent. Her pharmacy access is active. No local suspension was authorized. Marcy whispered, This is insane. Roy Whitcomb said, "Sounds clear to me." Denise continued. Any patient who was given a private billing card connected to Bell County Patient Resolution Services may request a regional review today. The lobby changed, not loud, silent, not quiet, silent. A man near the vending machine reached into his shirt pocket. A woman beside him opened her purse. Another patient looked toward Marcy with a face I understood too well. Marcy saw the cards appear, one glossy white card, then another, then another. Jenna put one hand over her mouth. Mr. Voss looked sick. General Rusk did not move. He watched Marcy watching the room answer for her. Denise said, "Jenna, bring a collection envelope." Jenna hurried behind the glass. Marcy's voice rose. "Those cards don't prove anything." Denise said, "They prove enough to preserve records." They asked for help. An older woman in the second row spoke up. "You told me I had to call." Marcy turned. "I don't know you." The woman held up a card. "You wrote the number." Marcy said nothing. Jenna returned with a large envelope. Denise held it open on the counter. "One at a time," Denise said. "Name on a separate sheet. Card inside. No medical details." Roy stood first. He reached into his wallet and pulled out a folded card. Marcy stared at him. "Roy." He walked to the counter. "You gave it to me in May." "You had a balance." "I had a question." He dropped the card into the envelope. The sound was small. It still landed. The next card came from the woman in the second row. She rose slowly. Her knees bothered her. I could see that from the way she pushed off the chair. She held the card with 2 fingers as if it had something on it. "My name's Alma Reese," she said. Denise said, "Write your name here, please." Alma looked at Marcy. "You said my husband's records were old." Marcy's face had gone flat. "I said we needed review." "No," Alma said. "You said old." That word sat there, old. Alma put the card in the envelope. "He was never old to me." Nobody answered that. There was no answer worth giving. A man in a work shirt stood behind her. He had clay dust on one boot and a VA letter folded in his hand. "Billy Harp," he said. "I got mine last month." Denise slid the sign-in sheet toward him. "No medical details." "I know," he said. "I'm just saying she gave it to me." Marcy snapped, "I didn't give anything to anyone." Billy looked at her. "You wrote Bell County on the back." He unfolded his card. On the back, in blue ink, were 3 numbers and a note. "Ask for Terry." Mr. Voss leaned closer. "Terry Bell?" Billy nodded. "That's what he said on the phone." Marcy said, "Lots of people are named Terry." General Rusk finally moved. He took one step toward the counter. "Mrs. Bell," he said. She looked at him. "Stop helping yourself." Her mouth opened, then closed. That was the first time I saw fear in her without anger covering it. It did not last long. She tucked it away, but I saw it. So did Denise. Jenna came around the side door with another envelope. "We may need a second one," she said. Denise said, "Keep them separate. Widow accounts first." Marcy laughed once. It was sharp and ugly. "Widow accounts," she said. "Now everyone's special." The lobby shifted. "Not loud. Ready." Roy turned his cane in his hand. Alma Reese looked down. Billy Harp stared at the floor. That word had been used against people in that room too many times. Special. I knew that trick. Make a protection sound like a favor. Make a right sound like a handout. Make grief sound like a line item. Denise picked up her tablet. "Mrs. Bell, did you mark survivor accounts for outside resolution?" "No." Jenna's voice came from behind the glass. "The referral marker is BB-PR. Marcy turned on her. "You don't know what that means." Jenna swallowed. "It's in the account notes." "Then you read too much." "I read my job." Mr. Voss said, "Jenna, print 1 redacted sample." Marcy said, "Don't you dare." He looked at her with a tired face. "That's enough." Jenna's hands shook when she touched the keyboard. I knew shaking hands. Mine had done it over stamps, bills, and one folded flag. Shaking did not mean weak. Sometimes it meant the body had caught up with the truth. The printer behind the glass started. Marcy stared at the machine like she wanted to stop it by looking hard. Denise turned to me. "Mrs. Mercer, keep your documents with you." "I am." General Rusk looked at the flag case. "Is the $6 receipt still inside?" "Yes." "Good." Marcy heard that. "Why does everyone keep saying $6? Roy said, "Because you did." She swung toward him. "Stay out of this." He stood straighter. "I was in the chair." "So?" "So I heard you." Denise held up one hand. "Mr. Whitcomb, thank you." Jenna came out with the page. It had black bars across names and numbers. She placed it on the counter. Mr. Voss read it first. His jaw tightened. Denise read over his shoulder. "Referral entered by MB balance reason listed as unpaid copay. Account class listed as survivor dependent." Marcy said, "That's one." Jenna said, "There are more." Marcy pointed at her. "You've been digging." Jenna's voice broke a little, but she kept it plain. "You told me not to open the old ledgers." "That wasn't your job." "You made it mine when you used my login." "That landed harder than the cards." Mr. Voss looked up. "What?" Jenna's eyes filled, but she did not cry. "Last winter, when I was on lunch, she said she needed my screen. I thought it was just pharmacy." Marcy said, "You gave me access." "I gave you my chair. Same thing." "No," Jenna said. "It's not." Denise touched her tablet. "Jenna, did you report that?" "I was afraid." "Of losing your job?" Jenna looked at Marcy. "Of becoming the next person at the window." That was quiet. It still reached every chair. Marcy's lips thinned. "This is pathetic." General Rusk said, "No, it's sworn adjacent." Denise looked at him. He said, "Take her statement." Denise nodded. "Jenna, step aside with Mr. Voss." Marcy moved toward the counter. "She's lying." General Rusk stepped between them. He did not raise his voice. "Stay where you are." "I work here. Not in this moment." Marcy's eyes went to the side hallway. Two men from the Chattanooga van had entered. One held a sealed evidence carton. The other carried a laptop bag. Their badges said Office of Inspector General. That was a new silence. Marcy saw the badges and lost color. Denise said, "Mrs. Bell, this is now a coordinated preservation." "No," Marcy said. "No, this is compliance." It was. "You can't bring them in for billing questions." The taller man said, "We're here for records control." Marcy looked at Mr. Voss. "Tell them." Mr. Voss did not help her. "I'm cooperating." "You knew nothing." "I know that now." The taller man turned to Denise. "Where do you want us?" "Records room first," she said. "Then intake terminal 2, preserve local notes, referral exports, and scan queue history." Marcy's purse strap slid off her shoulder. She caught it fast. General Rusk noticed. So did Denise. "Mrs. Bell," Denise said, "please set your purse on that chair." Marcy held it tighter. "No." "Then hand it to Mr. Voss." "No." The OIG man said, "Ma'am, don't remove anything from this building." "I'm not." "Then set it down." Marcy looked at the lobby. People she had corrected, dismissed, and delayed were watching her receive one simple instruction. Set it down. Her fingers loosened. The purse dropped onto the chair with a soft thud. Denise said, "Thank you." Marcy whispered, "This is over $6. I heard my own voice before I decided to use it. "No," I said. "It was never over $6. She looked at me then, not at my file, not at my flag, at me. For 1 second, I saw the woman under the job, tired, cornered, afraid. Then she chose the old mask. "You don't even understand your own benefits," she said. General Rusk turned his head. That was the wrong sentence. Denise said, "Mrs. Bell." But Marcy kept going. "You people bring in boxes and flags and old papers. You expect everyone to bow. You had a copay. You didn't pay it right. That's all this ever was." Roy said, "Linda paid." Marcy snapped, "She paid $6. I set the flag case on the counter. The latch faced me. The glass caught the ceiling light. Daniel's folded flag stayed still inside. I opened it. Nobody spoke. I took out the 2 receipts. First, the $3 one from April 6th, 2011. Then the $6 one from that morning. I set them on the counter beside the green folder. Straight. General Rusk looked at them. Denise looked too. Mr. Voss came closer. Jenna stopped near the records door. Marcy folded her arms. "Receipts prove payment. They don't prove status." I said, "Then read the status." I opened the green folder to Daniel's page. Linda, VA, keep, then the March 15th letter, then the citation cover. I did not touch the restricted names. General Rusk did not reach for it. "Mrs. Mercer," he said, "may I read it aloud?" "Yes." Denise said, "Read only the authorized lines." He nodded. He stood at the center counter, not behind the glass. That mattered. He stood where patients stood. He lifted the March 15th copy by the top corner. His hand was steady. "This letter confirms survivor protection status associated with Service File DM 7214, he read. Marcy looked away. He continued. "Clinic access and pharmacy continuation are not to be suspended for routine copay dispute without regional review." The lobby did not breathe. General Rusk placed that page down and lifted the citation cover. "This page references Citation Review Attachment, Room 214 Supplemental Statement, CR 9762. He looked at me. "This is the authorized cover only." I nodded. He faced the room again. "Service member Daniel Mercer, Unit Support Attachment, 1st Battalion, 502nd Infantry. Deployment year 1991. Temporary duty with the 101st Airborne Division Support Element. Witness Officer Calvin Rusk, then Lieutenant Colonel." Marcy whispered, "That doesn't make her exempt." General Rusk heard her. Everyone did. He set the page down. Then he reached for my $6 receipt. He held it up, but not high. Just enough that the room could see the small slip Marcy had waved like proof I did not belong. $6, he said. That word came back different. He placed the receipt beside the protection letter. Mrs. Mercer's access was protected before this receipt existed. Her pharmacy access was protected before this morning. Her survivor status was protected before Mrs. Bell touched the screen. Marcy's face tightened. He turned to her. "You said, wait until real heroes finish." I felt my hand close around the edge of the counter. General Rusk picked up Daniel's page again. His voice stayed low. Daniel Mercer drove supply under hostile conditions near Dahran in 1991. He reached people others could not reach. He gave a supplemental statement in room 214. That statement protected names beyond his own. Because of that record, this survivor file carried a protected marker. He set the page down. Then Major General Calvin Rusk, retired Army, stepped back from the counter. He faced me. He brought his heels together. In the middle of the Ocoee Valley 5th A clinic, beside the intake glass, with Marcy Bell watching and my $6 receipt on the counter, he raised his right hand and saluted. I did not move at first. My body did not know what to do with honor given in public. Shame had trained me faster. Then I stood straighter. I held the flag case against my ribs. General Rusk held the salute 1 full second longer. "Real heroes do not make widows beg over $6, he said. The room broke open, but not with noise, with standing. Roy stood first because he was already halfway up. Alma Reese stood next. Billy Harp removed his cap. Jenna came out from behind the glass and stood by the counter. Mr. Voss stood beside her. Patients rose in pieces, chairs scraping, canes tapping, papers held tight. Marcy stayed seated. That was her choice. I did not salute back. I was not the soldier. Daniel was. I did the only thing that felt right. I nodded. Thank you, General. He lowered his hand. No, Mrs. Mercer, he said. Thank you. Denise let the room stay there for a few seconds. Then she returned it to work. Mr. Voss, she said, freeze all Bell County referral flags. He moved fast. Jenna, Terminal 1. Jenna wiped her cheek with the back of her hand. Yes. Denise turned to the OIG men. Secure Terminal 2 and the local export folder. The shorter man moved behind the counter with Mr. Voss. The taller one picked up Marcy's purse from the chair and placed it on the counter, unopened. Mrs. Bell, he said, you'll remain here while records are preserved. Marcy looked at him. Am I under arrest? No. Then I can leave. No, Denise said. You're an employee under active administrative review. Marcy gave a small laugh. You all love phrases. General Rusk said, you used plenty. She looked at him with red eyes. You don't know this place. I know what I read. You people come from Chattanooga and Washington and wherever else, then you leave. I'm here when they yell. Alma Reese said, I never yelled. Marcy turned toward her. Not you. Roy said, who did? Marcy pressed her lips together. Denise said, Mrs. Bell, you'll have a chance to give a statement. I'm giving one now. Not here. Why? She got her show. I looked at her then. There was my opening. A younger Linda might have used it to strike back. Age changes the aim. I did not want to become her with better evidence. This isn't a show, I said. It's a correction. Marcy blinked. I picked up the $6 receipt and placed it back on the counter, closer to Denise. This stays with the review copy. General Rusk said, the original remains yours. I know. Denise opened a clear evidence sleeve. You can place it in here yourself. I slid the receipt inside. She sealed the sleeve and wrote on the white strip. Mercer Copay receipt. Same-day access challenge. Public intake event. She turned the sleeve toward me. Confirm. I read it. Confirmed. Then I took the $3 receipt and placed it in another sleeve. Denise wrote again. Mercer, April 6th, 2011 receipt. Clerk initials MB, linked to missing protection letter. Marcy said, that's not fair. Denise looked up. The word is documented. Marcy's eyes moved to the envelope of cards. They'll blame me for everything. Mr. Voss said, did you make the referrals? She did not answer. He asked again. Did you? Marcy looked toward the glass window. The chair where she had sat all morning was empty now. Her stamp lay beside the keyboard. Red ink on the pad. A small thing. A lot of damage. Terry said it wasn't wrong, she said. There it was. No one moved. Denise's voice went very calm. Terry Bell? Marcy swallowed. He said they just helped people understand bills. General Rusk said, and the fees? I didn't set fees. But you sent widows. She looked at me, then Alma, then the floor. Not just widows, she said. The taller OIG man said, who else? Marcy's mouth shook. Anyone who got scared. That was worse than a denial. Jenna covered her mouth again. Roy said, you counted on that. Marcy whispered, I counted on keeping my house. Denise did not soften. Were you paid? Marcy's eyes closed. Gas cards, she said. Sometimes cash. Mr. Voss leaned back as if the counter had moved. Denise wrote something on her tablet. Amount? I don't know. Approximate. I don't know. General Rusk said, try. Marcy looked at him with hate and exhaustion mixed together. Maybe 8,000, she said. Alma Reese sat down hard. Billy Harp said one word under his breath, then caught himself. Denise said, over what period? Marcy wiped her nose with the back of her hand. Since late 2023. Jenna said, but Linda's file goes back to 2011. Marcy stiffened. That was the next door. General Rusk looked at Denise. Denise said, Mrs. Bell? Marcy's voice went thin. That was different. How? I didn't send that to Terry. No, I said. You hid it. She looked at me. I touched Daniel's March 15th letter. You told him there was no hold letter. Marcy said nothing. I turned the ledger so she could see Daniel's handwriting. April 6th, 2011, MB says no hold letter in file, paid $3, receipt filed. She read it. I watched her recognize her younger hand through Daniel's older one. That was a long time ago, she said. General Rusk said, it was the start. I didn't know what it was. You knew enough to say it wasn't there. Marcy looked at the folder. For the first time, she did not look angry at Daniel's name. She looked afraid of it. He kept coming back, she said. My throat tightened. When? I asked. She looked at me. After appointments, sometimes after yours. He asked for copies. He asked who pulled the letter. He asked why the blue star was gone from the screen. The blue star. General Rusk turned slowly. Gone? Marcy looked trapped again. The old system showed it. The new one didn't. Jenna said, it does if you open protected status. Marcy snapped, nobody opened protected status. General Rusk said, Daniel did. Marcy looked at me. He asked too many questions. There it was, plain as a bill. Daniel had not been confused. He had not been passive. He had stood at that same window and pulled at a loose thread until someone made the thread disappear. I kept my voice steady. What did you do? Marcy whispered. I moved the patient copy to inactive correspondence. Denise looked up from her tablet. Say that again. Marcy shook her head. Denise's voice sharpened. Say it. I moved the patient copy. Whose patient copy? Linda Mercer's. The room took that in, not loud, heavy. General Rusk asked, why? Marcy looked at the receipt sleeves. Because if it stayed active, Voss would ask why she never paid normal copays. Mr. Voss said, I would have corrected it. You were new. I was still the administrator. You didn't know old cases. I know theft from a widow. Marcy flinched at that word. Denise lifted one finger toward Mr. Voss. Careful. He took a breath. I know improper handling. Marcy sat down. Her legs seemed to give up before the rest of her. I told myself it was temporary, she said. I believed that part, not because it excused her, because people often start with temporary. Temporary becomes habit when no one checks. General Rusk said, temporary lasted 15 years. She covered her face with one hand. Nobody comforted her. Nobody mocked her either. That mattered. Denise closed her tablet cover halfway. Mrs. Bell, you're relieved from patient contact pending formal action. You'll provide a written statement to OIG and regional compliance. Marcy lowered her hand. Do I need a lawyer? The OIG man said, that's your decision. She nodded once, small, then she looked at me. I'm sorry, she said. The words came out dry. Not pretty, not enough. But they came. I looked at her for a long moment. I could have said I forgave her, I did not. I could have said it was all right. It was not. So I said the truth. You should be. Her face broke a little. General Rusk looked at me, but he did not interrupt. Denise sealed the envelope of cards. Mr. Voss, post the review notice at intake and pharmacy. No affected patient leaves today without a direct regional contact. Yes. Jenna, you'll help patients fill the request sheet. Jenna nodded. I can do that. Her voice was different now, still nervous, less small. Denise turned to the lobby. If you received a Bell County Patient Resolution Services card, stay after your appointment or see Jenna before you leave. Your benefits will not be suspended today for asking. Alma Reese lifted her hand. What if we already paid? Denise looked at her. Bring proof. We'll review it. Billy Harp said, what if we don't have proof? I almost answered from 25 years at the post office, but Denise got there first. Bring what you have, she said. Dates help, envelopes help, bank lines help. I added, write down who you talked to. Alma looked at me. I said, set it down straight. She nodded like she understood more than the words. Roy tapped his cane once. That should be on the wall. Marcy looked at him, then down. Mr. Voss stepped to the glass window. He removed the small sign that said billing questions resolved here. He folded it in half and put it under the counter. Then he opened the side door. Mrs. Mercer, he said, your pharmacy pickup is ready. I looked at him. He corrected himself before I had to. Your no-charge pharmacy pickup is ready. That was not apology. It was better in that moment. A correction. Jenna went to the pharmacy shelf and came back with a white paper bag. She checked the label twice. Linda Mercer, she said. Last four, 7214. I said them back. She handed me the bag with both hands. I'm sorry, she said quietly. You weren't the one at the window. I was behind it. That was honest. I took the bag. Then stand better behind it. She nodded. I will. General Rusk gathered the pages I had opened. He did not stack them his way. He waited while I put Daniel's folder back in order. Letter, ledger, receipt copy, citation cover, marriage certificate, pharmacy printout. I wrapped the new rubber band around the green folder. It held firm. Denise placed the 2 sealed receipt sleeves into a red evidence folder and gave me a signed property receipt. This acknowledges custody of copies and the temporary review sleeve, she said. Original flag case remains with you. I looked at the line. The $6 original is in your sleeve. Yes, temporarily. For review. For review. I signed. My hand did not shake. Marcy watched me sign. Maybe she remembered laughing when I counted bills that morning. Maybe she did not. I did not need her memory anymore. The room had one. General Rusk picked up my flag case from the counter and held it out to me. He held it carefully, but he did not treat me like glass. That helped. Mrs. Mercer, he said, I'll walk you to your car. I looked around the lobby. People were still standing in small groups. Jenna was handing out forms. Mr. Voss was taping a notice to the glass. Denise was speaking softly to Alma Reese. The OIG men were behind the records door. Marcy sat alone in the chair with no purse on her lap. Her eyes followed the flag case. At the door, Roy called my name. I turned. He lifted his cane. Daniel would have liked today. I thought about that. No, I said. He would have liked it fixed sooner. Roy smiled sadly. That too. Outside, the Cedar Bluff air felt hot against my face. The parking lot off Veterans Drive had cars waiting in rows. My old sedan sat near the curb, the passenger seat empty for the first time since I had carried the flag inside. General Rusk walked beside me. Neither of us spoke until we reached the car. Then he said, Daniel kept his promise. I opened the passenger door. He kept records. Same thing sometimes. I set the flag case on the seat. The space looked right again, but different. I placed the green folder beside it, not under it. General Rusk stood back. "Mrs. Mercer," he said, "there will be calls." "I know." "There may be statements." "I know." "You don't have to carry all of it." I looked through the windshield at the clinic doors. People were still moving inside, not finished, but moving. "I carried the wrong part," I said. He did not ask what I meant. That was why I told him. "I carried the shame." Daniel carried the proof. General Rusk looked down for a moment. "That sounds like him." I touched the top of the flag case. "General." "Yes, ma'am." "Did he know you'd come?" "No." "Then why did he write your name where I could find it?" General Rusk took his time. "Because he trusted paper to outlast people." I almost smiled. He did. "And because he trusted you to read it." That one stayed with me. Inside the clinic, through the glass doors, I saw Jenna guide Alma Reese to the counter. Alma held her card in one hand and a pen in the other. She looked nervous. Jenna pointed to one line on the form and waited. Not rushed, not dismissed. A younger woman learning to stand better behind the window. That was something. General Rusk closed my passenger door gently. I walked around to the driver's side. Before I got in, I looked back once. Marcy was visible through the lobby glass. The OIG man had moved a chair beside her. Denise stood in front of her with the tablet open. Mr. Voss handed over a key ring. No shouting, no dragging, no drama for the sake of it. Just keys leaving one hand and going to another. That was enough for now. I got into the car. The pharmacy bag sat on the console. The green folder rested against the flag case. Daniel's handwriting faced upward. Linda. VA. Keep. I started the engine. General Rusk stepped back and gave me one last nod. I pulled out of the Ocoee Valley lot and turned toward Benton Pike. At the light, I looked at the empty cup holder where I had kept the $6 receipt folded all morning before moving it into Daniel's case. It was not there now. For the first time, that did not scare me. The receipt was not gone. It was where it needed to be. I drove Benton Pike with both hands on the wheel. At the first grocery light, my phone buzzed in my purse. I did not reach for it. Daniel used to say a ringing phone had never steered a car well. I let it stop. It started again before I passed the courthouse square. I pulled into the public lot behind the old brick building. The pharmacy bag slid against the console. The flag case stayed steady on the passenger seat. I put the car in park and looked at the screen. Unknown number. I answered anyway. "This is Linda Mercer." "Mrs. Mercer, this is Denise Hall." Her voice sounded different outside that clinic lobby, still firm, less hard. "Yes. I need to confirm something with you." "All right. Did anyone from Bell County Patient Resolution Services contact you before today?" "No." "Not by phone?" "No." "Letter?" "No." "Did Marcy Bell ever give you one of their cards?" "She tried once." "When?" I closed my eyes and put myself back in the old window. "March." "This year?" "Yes." "What happened?" She slid it under the glass. I slid it back. Denise was quiet for a second. "What did you say?" "I said I don't pay strangers for federal records." A short breath came through the phone, not a laugh, close. "And what did she say?" "She said I'd learn." Denise did not answer right away. I heard paper move. "Mrs. Mercer, can you write that down?" "I can." "Date if you know it?" "I know it." "Of course you do." I looked at the courthouse clock. It was 10 minutes after 2. The day had started with $6 and a room full of lowered eyes. Now Denise Hall was asking me for dates. "March 19th, I said. 2 minutes before noon. "You're sure?" I mailed a birthday card to my sister after. The postmark was noon pickup. "All right. Does that matter?" It connects the referral pattern. Pattern. That word sounded clean. It was not clean. It meant Alma Reese. It meant scared men with caps in their hands. It meant people who paid because the person behind the glass used an official voice. Denise said, "We found a printed card drawer." At Marcy Station? Yes. How many? Enough. I gripped the phone harder. Were mine in there? Your name was on a sticky note. I looked at Daniel's folder on the seat. The green cover had bent at one corner. I had smoothed that corner at least 50 times. What did it say? Denise paused. You don't need to hear that. I asked. Another paper moved. It said, Mercer, keeps old papers, push hardship angle. There it was, not widow, not patient, not person, angle. I sat very still. Cars moved around the square. A man crossed toward the tax office with a folder tucked under his arm. A young mother helped a child from a truck. Ordinary things kept happening. Mrs. Mercer? I'm here. I'm sorry. That's 2 apologies today. I know. Yours lands different. I'll take that. I watched the courthouse flag shift in the heat. What do you need from me? A statement by phone now, written later. Mr. Voss is scheduling an open patient review at 4:30 in the lobby. General Rusk asked that you be invited. Today? Yes. That's fast. It has to be. People were leaving with cards. I looked toward Veterans Drive, though the clinic was not visible from where I sat. Will Marcy be there? She'll be present for part of it. Why? Because patients need to identify what she gave them. That won't be easy. No. I thought of Alma Reese sitting down hard. I thought of Jenna pointing at the form and waiting. Will Terry Bell be there? Not unless he chooses to walk into a federal interview. That sounds unlikely. It does. Denise's voice sharpened again. But his business line is being preserved. Good. Can you return? I looked at the flag case. Daniel had carried proof farther than I had carried pain. I could drive 8 more miles. Yes. Bring the folder. I wasn't going to leave it. And Mrs. Mercer? Yes. You don't have to speak if you don't want to. I almost answered too fast. Then I stopped. At my age, fear changes shape. It does not always leave. Sometimes it sits beside duty and waits to see which one stands first. I'll speak if it helps. It will. Then I will. I ended the call and placed the phone on the console. The courthouse square had a bench where Daniel and I once ate ham biscuits after renewing the truck tags. I did not let my mind stay there. Memory is not wrong. It just has bad timing. I opened my purse, took out my small notepad, and wrote what Denise had asked for. March 19th, noon pickup, card offered. I returned it. Marcy said, "You'll learn." I underlined nothing. Underlining was for emotion. The words could stand alone. Then I drove back to Ocoee Valley. The parking lot was fuller than before. 2 Chattanooga sedans with federal plates sat near the entrance. A county sheriff's car was parked at the far curb, not blocking anything, just present. Inside, the lobby had changed. The old billing sign was gone. A printed notice was taped to the glass in 3 places. Jenna stood at the counter with a stack of forms. Mr. Voss had moved 2 chairs away from the side door, making a short line that did not crowd the pharmacy window. Alma Reese sat in the first row with her purse open. Billy Harp stood near the wall. Roy had taken the chair closest to the door and kept his cane across his knees. He saw me and lifted one hand. You came back. So did you. I was already nosy. You were already useful. He smiled at that. General Rusk stood by the hallway with Denise. He had removed his suit jacket and folded it over one arm. His tie was still straight. Some men carry rank after retirement. He carried responsibility. He came over. Mrs. Mercer. General. You all right? No. He nodded once. Fair answer. Denise said there's a review. There is. Public? As much as privacy allows. That's a narrow bridge. It is. I looked at the counter. Jenna was helping a man press his pen harder against a form. Who decided today? You did. No, General. You kept the receipt. That isn't the same. It is close enough. Denise joined us with her tablet. Mrs. Mercer will keep this simple. I'll explain the freeze. Mr. Voss will give the clinic correction. General Rusk will confirm regional authority. Then patients can identify outside contacts. And Marcy? Denise looked toward the records door. She'll be brought out after the notice. She'll sit there. She pointed to a chair near the wall. Not behind glass. That mattered. I did not say so. Mr. Voss walked up carrying a clipboard. He looked older than he had that morning. Shame had found the right office. Mrs. Mercer, he said. Mr. Voss, I owe you a direct apology. I held up one hand. You owe them a working window. He accepted that. Yes, ma'am. That apology can wait. All right. He looked down at the clipboard. Your account is corrected. Already? Yes. Show me. He blinked once, then nodded. Of course. He stepped to Terminal 1. Jenna moved aside. I walked to the counter. He turned the monitor enough for me to see without showing the whole lobby. A line read, Survivor Protected Access. Another read Pharmacy Copay Exempt. Then a blue star sat beside Daniel Mercer. Not gone. There. I did not touch the screen. I wanted to. I did not. Print it, I said. Mr. Voss did. The machine clicked and hummed. He handed me one page. Is that enough? For today. He swallowed. I understand. I looked at the page. Daniel Mercer, United States Army. Protected survivor file attached. Regional hardship continuation. No patient copay due. The words were not tender. They were better. Tender words can forget. Records should not. Jenna looked over from the forms. Mrs. Mercer? Yes. I found the old access tab. I turned to her. It was there. Yes. Hidden? No. Collapsed. That was a small word with a large bill behind it. She looked ashamed, but she did not look away. I should have opened it. Yes. I will now. Every time? Every time. I folded the printed page and placed it in Daniel's folder. Denise moved to the middle of the lobby at 4:30 exactly. She did not ask for quiet. She waited until people gave it. My name is Denise Hall. I'm Regional Compliance. Ocoee Valley Clinic has frozen all billing and referral flags connected to outside patient resolution services. A man in a Vietnam cap raised his hand. Does that mean collections? It means no action leaves this building today. Today? Today, and pending review. Billy Harp said, Say it plain. Denise looked at him. Nobody here loses care today because of those cards. The room moved a little. Shoulders lowered, purses opened, papers came out. Mr. Voss stepped beside her. I'm Edward Voss, clinic administrator. If you were told to pay a private office to protect VA access, bring that card forward. If you were told your benefits would stop unless you paid, bring that forward. If this office failed to check your protected status, that failure is ours to review. Alma Reese looked at me. I gave her one nod. She stood. My husband was Army, she said. Denise turned toward her. Name? Harold Reese. Your card? Alma held up the Bell County card. Marcy gave me this after my lab appointment. When? May 8th. What did she say? Alma's lips pressed together. Then she lifted her chin. She said widows get confused. The room went silent, not quiet, silent. Jenna's face changed. Mr. Voss closed his eyes for half a second. Denise wrote it down. Did you pay? $200. How? Check. Do you have a copy? Alma opened her purse and pulled out a folded bank statement. I brought it because Linda said dates help. Denise took it with gloved fingers. Thank you, Mrs. Reese. Alma sat down slowly. Billy Harp came next. He did not have a card. He had a phone number written on the back of a pharmacy leaflet. Same office, he said, same woman's handwriting. Jenna looked at it and went pale. That's Marcy's, she said. Denise turned. You're sure? Jenna nodded. I've seen it on labels. Say it for the record. Jenna's voice shook. That is Marcy Bell's handwriting. The records door opened. Marcy came out between the taller OIG man and a woman from Human Resources. Her purse was gone. Her badge was gone, too. That empty square on her blouse said more than a speech. She saw the lobby and stopped. Denise said, Mrs. Bell, sit here. Marcy sat in the chair by the wall, not behind glass. Roy leaned toward me. Different view. Yes. Marcy's eyes moved from patient to patient. When she saw Alma's bank statement in the evidence sleeve, her mouth tightened. Denise spoke to the room. Mrs. Bell is present for identification only. Do not address her directly. Give statements to staff. Marcy looked at Denise. I can answer. Not now. I said I can answer. General Rusk stepped forward. You'll answer under process. Marcy laughed once. It had no strength. There's that word again. Roy said, process beats cards in purses. Denise lifted one hand. Mr. Whitaker. Roy leaned back. Done. Then the phone at the counter rang. Everyone heard it because nobody was speaking. Jenna looked at Mr. Voss. He nodded. She picked it up. Ocoee Valley VA Outpatient Clinic. This is Jenna. Her eyes moved to Denise. Yes, sir. She pressed the speaker button. A man's voice filled the small lobby. This is Terry Bell. I need Marcy. Marcy closed her eyes. Denise pointed to the OIG man. He moved closer to the counter. Jenna said, Mrs. Bell isn't available. She's available if she's sitting there. No one breathed loud. Terry Bell said, Tell her not to sign anything. Denise spoke. Mr. Bell, this is Denise Hall with Regional Compliance. The line went dead. The sound of that call ending did more than an accusation. It placed him in the room without giving him a chair. The taller OIG man said, Call captured. Denise nodded. Marcy's hands twisted in her lap. Mr. Voss looked at her. Was he watching the clinic? Marcy said nothing. Denise said, Mrs. Bell. Marcy's voice came out flat. He knows the parking lot. General Rusk asked, How? He waits across Veterans Drive. For patients? For me. That isn't an answer. For both. Alma Reese made a small sound. Billy Harp stepped closer to the wall, not toward Marcy, just away from the glass. Denise wrote again. Describe the arrangement. Marcy shook her head. Not here. General Rusk said, You started it here. Marcy looked at him, then at me. I gave him names. The words landed plain. Denise said, Protected names? I didn't know at first. At first? Marcy swallowed. Then I did. Whose? Marcy looked at the green folder under my hand. Mrs. Mercer's. I held the folder tighter. Denise said, Did Terry Bell receive Linda Mercer's name? No. Why not? Marcy's eyes filled again. She looked angry about that too. Because Daniel Mercer scared him. General Rusk's head lifted. What do you mean? Marcy wiped her cheek. Terry saw the citation cover in an old scan. He said, Leave that one alone. The room turned toward me. I did not move. General Rusk said, He knew the file was protected. He knew enough. And you still flagged her. Marcy's mouth trembled. I thought a small copay wouldn't matter. $6. There it was again. Small. A small copay. A small stamp. A small laugh. Small things can hold a door shut for years. General Rusk's voice dropped. It mattered. Marcy looked at the floor. I know. No, he said. You know now. Denise looked at me. Mrs. Mercer, can you identify the card offered to you? Jenna brought a clear sleeve to the counter. Inside was a Bell County Patient Resolution Services card. Same blue lettering, same cheap shine. I stepped forward. Marcy watched me. I looked at the card, then at Denise. Yes. For the record, how do you know? The phone number, the missing comma after county, the crooked cut on the bottom edge. Denise's pen stopped for a beat. You noticed that? I worked mail 25 years. Roy muttered, Told you. Denise marked the sleeve. Identified by Linda Mercer. Marcy whispered, I didn't give you that one. I turned toward her. No, you tried to. She looked up. I slid it back. I remember. That means you had a choice. Marcy took that like a slap, though I had not raised my voice. General Rusk stepped between us slightly, not to protect her from me, to keep the record clean. Denise said, Mrs. Mercer, that's enough. But it was not quite enough. I looked at Mr. Voss. May I say one thing to the room? He looked to Denise. She nodded. I turned around. Most of the people there had been in that lobby that morning. Some had left and returned with papers. Some were new to the afternoon, drawn by calls from spouses or neighbors. Nobody looked entertained. That helped me speak. I paid $6 this morning because I was tired, I said. I thought maybe tired meant wrong. The room stayed still. I was not wrong. Alma held her purse with both hands. I'm not saying don't pay what you owe, I said. I'm saying make them show it. Names, dates, codes, put it on paper. Roy tapped his cane once. I looked at Jenna. And if you work behind the glass, open the whole file. Jenna nodded. Tears stood in her eyes, but she did not hide them. I looked at Marcy last. Confused, I said. She flinched. That was the word. Her lips parted, but no sound came. I was not confused. Alma was not confused. Billy was not confused. We were being rushed past the proof. General Rusk stood very straight. Denise said softly, Thank you, Mrs. Mercer. I stepped back. My knees felt older than they had a minute before. The review continued. People came forward one by one. No one told long stories. Denise would not let them. Date, name, amount, contact. That was the shape. It kept the room from turning into a storm. A man named Mr. Kane had paid $75 by money order. Jenna copied the stub. A woman with a walker had been told to call Terry Bell after a missed appointment. Mr. Voss wrote her account number himself. Alma stayed beside her when her hand shook. Marcy sat through all of it. Once she asked for water. Jenna brought it in a paper cup. She placed it on the small table beside Marcy, not in her hand. Marcy said, Thank you. Jenna said, You're welcome. That was all. It was enough for one apology scene. More would have been performance. At 5:40, Denise closed the first set of statements. We'll continue by appointment, she said. No one needs to crowd this room tonight. If you gave a statement, you'll receive a copy. If you need care, keep your appointment. Do not pay Bell County Patient Resolution Services. Billy Harp raised his hand. What if they call us? Write down the time, Denise said. Do not argue. Do not pay. Report it. Roy said, Can we hang that on the wall too? Mr. Voss answered before Denise could. Yes. He took a blank sheet and wrote in thick marker, Do not pay outside billing services for VA access. Ask for regional review. He taped it where the old billing sign had been. It was crooked. Jenna stepped up and straightened it. Roy looked at me. There. I said, better. General Rusk walked me to the door again, but this time Alma came too. She moved slowly, bank statement copy in one hand, purse strap over her wrist. At the entrance, she touched my sleeve. Linda. Yes. I paid because I felt foolish. I know. I didn't tell my son. You can now. She shook her head. Not tonight. Then don't tonight. Her eyes searched mine. Are you going home? Yes. Will you be all right? I looked at the car. The flag case waited on the passenger seat. The green folder was under my arm. The new printout sat inside it. I'll be more all right than I was. Alma nodded. General Rusk opened the clinic door for us. The air outside had cooled only a little. Across Veterans Drive, a dark pickup sat near the far curb. The taller OIG man came out behind us and spoke into his phone. The pickup started and left without hurry. General Rusk saw me watching. Let them handle that. I am. Are you? I looked at him. General, I'm going home to eat soup and file paper. His mouth moved close to a smile. That sounds like discipline. No, that sounds like being 64. He laughed once, low. At my car, he handed me a card. Not a business card from a private office, a federal card, heavy paper, plain print. My direct line is on the back, he said. I don't like needing generals. Nobody should need one for $6. No. But until the system stands straight, use the number. I took it. Daniel would say you always did like a direct line. He said worse. I'm sure. General Rusk looked at the flag through the window. Mrs. Mercer, Daniel's citation will be recertified in your file. It already was. Now it will be visible. That word settled in me. Visible, not special, not louder than others, just no longer hidden under a collapsed tab. Thank you, I said. He shook his head. Thank Daniel. I have been. I got into the car and placed his card inside the green folder. Not loose in my purse. Loose papers become lost papers. The drive home took me past the courthouse square again. The sun sat low over the brick storefronts. I stopped at the same light and did not feel the same person in the same seat. At home, the house was quiet. I carried the flag case in first, then the folder, then the pharmacy bag. I set the soup pot on low before I did anything else. Hunger makes brave people foolish. At the kitchen table, I opened Daniel's folder. I added the new printout behind the old protection letter. I wrote the date in the upper right corner, July 8th, 2026. Ocoee Valley Correction, printed by E. Voss, witnessed by J. Clerk. I stopped before writing Jenna's last name. I did not know it. I would get it later. I wrote Jenna, intake, and left space. Then I opened the flag case. The folded flag rested behind glass, tight and exact. Daniel's medals sat below it in their small row. The shadow box bag lay beside the chair, empty now. It had done its work. I took out the property receipt Denise had given me. The $6 original was not there. It was in evidence. That was right. But I still had the pharmacy correction printout, the account status page, and Daniel's older ledger with the line that had started today's answer. Linda, VA Keep. I placed the new account page under the edge of the flag case, not inside yet. I wanted to see it there for one night. The phone rang while I was ladling soup into a bowl. This time, it was my sister. Linda? Yes. Why is Alma Reese calling me? I sat down. What did she say? She said you made the VA stand up. No. She was crying. She had reason. My sister went quiet. Are you hurt? No. Are you in trouble? No. Is Daniel's flag all right? I looked at it from the kitchen table. Yes. What happened? I took one spoonful of soup before answering. It was too hot. I swallowed anyway. Marcy laughed at $6. My sister cursed under her breath. And Daniel had kept better records than they expected. That sounds like him. Yes. Do you need me to come over? I almost said no. Habit stood up first. Then I looked at the open flag case. I looked at the empty passenger side through the front window. I looked at my bowl. You can come tomorrow. Morning? After 9. I'll bring biscuits. Bring a folder. She was quiet, then she laughed softly. You're impossible. No, I'm behind. After we hung up, I ate slowly. I did not turn on the television. I did not want strangers shouting over a day that had finally gotten quiet. At 7:12, another call came. This one showed Ocoee Valley, VA. I answered. This is Linda Mercer. Mrs. Mercer, it's Jenna. Her voice was nervous again, but not small. Is something wrong? No, ma'am. No. I'm calling from the clinic line. Mr. Voss said I could. All right. I found your March receipt scan. My hand stopped on the spoon. This March? No. April 6th, 2011. I did not speak. It was in inactive correspondence, she said, just where Marcy said. What does it show? A $3 copay, her initials, and a note. What note? Jenna breathed in. It says patient states protected spouse letter exists. Clerk unable to locate. Patient advised to repay until verified. Daniel had written the same thing in his ledger, but hearing the clinic say it felt different. It changed Daniel's note from memory to match. Print it, I said. I did. Do not leave it on a desk. I put it in the review folder. Good. Mrs. Mercer? Yes. I opened the whole file. I closed my eyes. And? There were 2 blue stars. I sat back. 2? 1 for Daniel's citation packet. 1 for your hardship continuation. Jenna's voice steadied as she spoke. Marcy only hid 1 copy. The status still had a second link. That was Daniel again. Not magic, not luck. A man who knew 1 piece of paper could be misplaced, so he made 2 roads to the same truth. What does that mean? I asked. It means your protection never legally stopped. I looked at the flag. Say that again. Your protection never legally stopped. The house stayed quiet around those words. Thank you, Jenna. I should have found it sooner. Yes. I know. Print 2 copies. I already did. Then you're learning. She let out a shaky breath. Yes, ma'am. After the call, I sat with the soup cooling in front of me. The shame did not leave all at once. People like to say a truth sets you free. Sometimes it just unlocks the door. You still have to stand up and walk out. I stood up. I took the old $6 space in my receipt box and placed a note there. Original with VA Regional Compliance. Evidence sleeve. July 8th, 2026. Then I closed the box. Not hard, just closed.